makes you not like him.
Great. Okay, we actually were able to start the live on YouTube. For everybody tuning in on YouTube, it is so good to have you in here with me today. This is the first stream in 3 days. I'm so happy to have you guys here with me. We're going to go and hop straight into the debates. In fact, we already have our first Trump supporter up on the live named Buckeye. So, Buckeye, you were just asking me what questions do I have? Well, my main question is, why do you support him?
Honestly, I think he's good for America. You
Mhm.
know, if you have a president going into office, you don't want someone that's like laughing and like he deals with what he needs to deal with and he gets it done.
So you
I get it.
So I just want to clarify that like an intentional crash in U.S. stock markets and barreling America towards a recession is great because we don't want somebody with joy.
Is there proof that he's done that?
Yeah, he
What proof?
said, yeah, for sure,
What proof? Yeah.
his own words. So this was on Truth Social like a week and a half ago. He reposted
Okay.
a TikTok where he said that he's intentionally crashing the stock markets. Insofar as the evidence of America barreling towards a recession, I mean, just go watch the video of Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, say
Okay.
that Donald Trump's tariffs are going to decrease GDP growth. Not to mention the official, the official projection of a recession coming from J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, as well as the Atlanta Fed.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll just re-ask the question. Is like a woman's laugh worse than a recession?
Well, no, my point is, um, he he gets what he needs done, and I feel like he's better than Kamala because I mean she doesn't want to speak to the public, and that's obvious because he wasn't even running yet, and he was still speaking, and she didn't want to. She was also thrown in from Biden.
Okay,
You know,
I've never
I
heard the
don't think it
argument
was.
for that you didn't support her because she didn't want to speak to the public. I mean, she spent like 120 days doing nothing but speaking to the public.
I didn't see any of that actually.
I mean, what? So her presidential campaign started a little bit over 100 days out from the election, and she spent the entirety of that time flying around to different places across America to do rallies. And then in the little bit of free time that she had, she'd hop on podcasts. I mean, all that she did for the 120 days leading up to the election was literally speaking to the public, right? And in fact, I'd even argue that she was more willing than Trump to do so because Trump was the only presidential candidate in this election, as well as in like the last 60 years, that declined an interview in 60 minutes.
He did have an interview in 60 Minutes.
Not this election cycle. So what they'll typically do is they'll get both of the presidential candidates together. So in 2024, that would have been Trump and Kamala Harris to sit down and answer questions. Donald Trump declined, one of the first presidential candidates in 60 years to do so. Okay, well, it's funny because apparently this guy doesn't want to speak to the public. Okay, he left. We're going to move on to the next guest. And while we do, I got to thank Cheryl for the $117 donation on PayPal. Holy crap, Cheryl. Dude, that is so kind of you. I want to see a thousand W Cheryls down below in that comment section while we're getting the next Trump supporter to load up in the live. I do not deserve that. That is literally so kind of you, Cheryl. Cheryl says, "You're so awesome. You must make your parents proud." Funny enough, they are proud of me. But it gets even funnier because they're Trump supporters. But I'm changing their minds slowly but surely. But Cheryl, thank you so much for the $117. That is seriously so much money. That is so much fucking money, bro. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Guys, please show some love to Cheryl. As well as Allison with the $50 over on PayPal. Thank you, Allison and Cheryl, dude. Please show some love to Allison and Cheryl. Allison says, sorry I missed it. Mom had a surgery today after a month, hopefully home soon. We both love the younger Jin doing what y'all do. Keep it up. Allison, I really hope that your mom is doing well. If I'm thinking of the right person, I did tell you this before, and I'm really happy to hear that she's out of surgery, and I hope that things are looking up. Thank you for the love, Allison, and please give my love to your mom. But what is going on, Live Life? Do you support Trump? Live Life. I mean, I hear the background noise. You're obviously on the mic, so
yeah, I don't know how this works. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you support Trump, man?
Oh yeah.
All right, Mr. Live
I don't know.
Life.
I don't know why anybody who's American wouldn't.
Okay, maybe because true Americans want to protect and preserve the American Constitution, and Donald Trump has been trying for years to eradicate it, even explicitly so. I mean, fuck, he literally said that he wants to terminate the Constitution in December of 2022. There's like a billion other reasons, but that's a good place to start, right?
I think you're conflating things that are said. It's like the He said find people on both sides, yada yada yada. If you listen to the whole clip, the entire thing is explicitly not what the left tries to make it out to be. So you take little clips and snippets here and there and try to make it look how you want to look.
So
But
I'm actually
it's just,
referencing the statement by Donald Trump.
yeah, well, so are the people who are talking about the fine people on both sides.
So in
They
response to
take
my
one
claim,
statement.
so in
The
response,
left
so I
constantly
just
does
want to
that.
clarify that in response to my claim that Donald Trump put a statement out on Truth Social in December of 2022, explicitly calling for the termination of the American Constitution, your response is that no, he didn't.
No. Again, you're doing the exact same thing that they always do. This is your response. You try to put it in a box, try to make it sound like it's what it is, and you constantly do this kind of shit.
How about I just read you the message?
Yeah, you can read me the message, and guess what? They can read me the exact same message. They can put the exact same thing, and then
Okay,
you go back and you learn the context. Hold on, you go back and you learn the whole context of what's going on, and it's completely different than what you guys say it is every freaking
So
time.
I'm about to give you the full
It's like
context by
you guys
reading the
and
full message.
the previous
Are you
caller,
ready?
the previous caller, you just go, I'm gonna tell you the people who are saying the economy is gonna crash. These people, these people, these people. Here's the difference between people
So
who
before we talk about the
support.
economy, I
Hold
just
on.
want to
No. Hold on.
I'm not going to hold on
Hold on.
because I made a claim that Donald Trump called for the termination of the Constitution, and you've now done
Yeah, and I
anything
didn't
but
say he
respond
didn't
or
say
address
that.
that claim. So I want to read you
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
entirety of his
absolutely we have.
message. I want to read you off.
Absolutely we have.
Can
I
I
just
read you off the
No, because
actual
it's all
statement?
bullshit. It's all bullshit.
It's a
dude.
statement
You're
that's
just full of shit.
Wait, whoa. Slow down. I want to read you the literal text, the words
Yeah,
that Donald
and
Trump
you want
put
to
out
quote
on
the
Truth
literal
Social.
study from this economics group and this economics group and this economics group. All you guys do is point to quote unquote authority and act like that means something. Well, who made it mean something? Who made it
So
mean
I
something?
want to
Who
clarify.
says we have to have?
I want to clarify.
This.
We just really need to clarify here. So my claim is that Donald Trump put out a statement explicitly calling for the termination of the Constitution, and you don't think that me reading off Donald Trump's statement where he explicitly called for the termination of the Constitution is enough evidence?
No, I didn't even. You made that claim, and I didn't even refute the claim. I just
Great,
said
then
you
refute
leave
it.
out a huge. No, I don't need to. That's the whole thing. You guys try to trap people in. He said this and he said that, and this is what he said. And I can prove it. I can prove it. I
Right,
can prove
I
it.
can
I
prove
don't
it
give a
because
shit.
I could
I
read
can
it
take the
right
whole
now.
context of what the man is trying to do. I'm not
So
dumb enough to get sucked
I
into a
want
little rabbit
to
hole
read you the
about
whole
one statement
context of the
Donald Trump once
statement.
made. I don't give a shit, dude. Like, you're not listening to me. You try to trap people in this little rabbit hole of he did this and he did that and he did this. And I'm saying, back the fuck up. Look at the whole context of what's going on in the world.
So
What he's trying to do.
So what was the context?
And what he has done.
Can you give me the context behind him trying to erode and destroy the backbone of this country, which is the American Constitution?
You're pathetic, dude.
No, you are.
Like,
because you support a man who wants to destroy the backbone of America, and yet you think you have the right to call yourself a patriot.
What an asinine statement. Based on one statement that he made, based on what?
Based on him calling for the termination of the only thing that, like, the formulation of this country, based upon him calling for the termination of the Constitution? What? You know,
the termination of the Constitution.
Yeah, to get rid of the Constitution, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. You guys take everything that you want to literally, and you take everything that you don't want to exactly the opposite of how it is.
We know this was literal. You
guys are pathetic.
No. You're crashing out.
So why hasn't he just gone
You're crashing out.
Started arresting judges and bullshit like that.
So it's actually really funny.
Why hasn't he done that?
It's actually really funny.
He wants to eradicate the Constitution. Well, he's commander in chief right now.
It's actually really funny.
Declare martial law and just start exporting all of the people who don't believe in him and putting them in prison and doing all those things. Like, you guys are so freaking dramatic. Dude,
let me know when you're done talking. Let me know when you're done talking, emotional boy. Let me know when you're done talking, emotional boy. So, emotional little boy, are you ready for me to respond? You're spiraling. I think that you should try to get a hold of yourself because it looks it's quite frankly, it's hilarious when you come up here and you call me pathetic. but then you crash out and spiral for 5 minutes. So let's just hold ourselves together a little bit more than we are right now. I'm going to go and respond. So you just asked a very valuable question. You said, well, if he wants to be this dictator that wants to eradicate the Constitution and do all this, then why hasn't he done it yet? Well, funny enough, he did try to coup our civil and electoral processes, nullify the voice and the vote of the people, and install himself as president in 2020. And then he even admitted to it in court, so my evidence is his own testimony. Okay? And then you said, well, why isn't he just imprisoning people that he doesn't like without due process? Well, he has. In fact, the Supreme Court agrees with me, and they've ordered him to facilitate the return of people to America that he's deported and imprisoned without due process, right? And then you said, why doesn't he then just fire judges? So it's actually, he has fired immigration judges so he could then install Republican immigration judges. That was a big thing that he ran on. And now for judges that can't be fired under his authority, he started to call them activist judges that need to resign and need to step down. And if you go on the MAGA Twitter, you will straight up see Republicans telling the Trump administration to straight up ignore the courts, and the Trump administration has listened. They have. Right now, he's being held in contempt of one federal judge that ruled he had to turn a plane around with Venezuelan migrants on it. So it's funny because all the indicators that you named off that you think would be true if Donald Trump was trying to be a dictator are true.
3 straight lies. 3 straight lies. So you ready? Number 1, he did follow the Constitution. If he wanted to be a dictator when they stole the election in 2020, he could have done it. He was the commander in chief. He could have declared a national emergency and declared martial law. And yeah, it would have been rough, but he was in control. So he could have done it. Number 2, on that same point, he did follow the Constitution. The Constitution has provisions, which is why the vice president, who did betray him, I would say that, but that's why he was even in the Senate, because the states have to ratify, which means there is a process for contesting elections in the Constitution that you think he's trying to overthrow.
It's funny because if we want to relate the Constitution,
total 100% lie. No, you talk. I'm going to talk. That was a lie.
You have more to say?
Number 1 is a lie, provably false. Number 2,
I cannot wait to prove you're wrong. Nice rhetoric, though. It was cute.
Uh-oh, come here.
You said you had more to say, so I'll wait.
Yeah, mess. Well, I've got a kid that I'm going to take care of, and I'm, hopeful that this kind of mind dribble that you peddle onto people doesn't ever peddle onto my kids or the rest of the country.
So if you don't want to
fall apart,
you know what you need to do, and I really hope the only way to make sure that this mind dribble
you don't need to tell me what
peddle,
I need to do, bud.
You know what?
You don't need to tell me.
I was about to, but I don't genuinely want you to do it. Because I was about to point out that the mind dribble that you are describing of mine is just an ability to critically think, predicated on a foundation of education, right? So, I mean, are you basically telling us that you don't want your child to critically think? You don't want your child to be curious about what's true and false in the world around them? You don't want your child to have a foundation of a high level of education? You want your child to drink the Kool-Aid just like you? You are the problem with this country. Right? But to respond to your statements about my first claim that he tried to overthrow the results of the 2020 election, you called that a lie. He admitted to it. He sent fake slates of electorates to 7 of the key swing states that Biden had won. Okay, and then he sent these fake slates of
Who did that before?
With
Who did that before?
Fake votes.
Who did that before?
Nobody's ever done this before.
Who did that before?
Nobody.
Thousands of you got to be. There's been thousands of alternative. Oh wow, dude! You need to do some history, bro.
Yeah, I do know my history.
The Democrats did it.
I do know my
The
history, sir. And actually, it's funny because according to Donald Trump's own legal argument to the Supreme Court, and then inside of the January 6th,
election,
sir, are you going to continue?
Are you
going to continue to interrupt me? Are you going to continue to interrupt me? We're not going to do interruptions, little boy. How come your child's more mature than you are?
You're just freaking lying. That's the problem.
So no.
But you just keep muting me so that you can just talk over.
Well, I am muting you because you're talking over me. Were you never taught boundaries?
Right, because you're lying. I say lie.
Yeah, for sure. Go. Well, if I'm so wrong, how come you want to sign? I thought that conservatives liked free speech, but apparently, whenever Dean talks, you want to immediately.
Presidential candidates. Every time a Democrat has lost in the last 50 years, they've had alternate electors show up.
Okay, so
Do some freaking history.
Wait, so I actually,
grow up, dude.
It's what's called.
They just.
So well, I know what you're referencing, and I don't mind educating you. Okay, so you're talking about alternate.
Oh, okay. Thanks
Of
so
course.
much. You're so smart and educated.
Yes, are you ready to
I had
learn?
gone to some Ivy League school. So
I mean,
you're smart.
you're seriously not letting me speak at all, man. Are we gonna have a problem? Do I need to mute you?
Oh my gosh.
Do I need to? What? Like seriously, you're an adult, right? Like, is that your child in the other room, or like your brother? I don't know. Or like your child, or like your best friend that you're gonna go to school with tomorrow. Listen. All that I'm asking you for is for the right to speak on my own platform for more than 10 seconds. I feel like that's a fair request.
Yeah, and you did for like 3 long.
No.
Big.
I just want a
huge
productive
lives.
conversation. Okay, that's all I want. All right. When
3 huge long lives.
there he
man,
goes
just
again.
Sat there quietly and
Is this
listened to.
seriously how we're gonna do this, man? Okay, I'm gonna give you your last opportunity to continue this conversation without me literally spam muting you. I hate when I have to do that so much, but I'm gonna have to do it if I want to talk. So I'm gonna go ahead and start speaking. Please don't interrupt me. All right, and I'll give you the same respect. So, anyways. Back to what I was going to say. So you try to argue that every single Democrat that has lost an election in the last 50 years has sent alternative slates of electorates into Congress. So first of all, that claim is just analytically false. No. Alternative slates of electors that we sent in Congress on the ratification of the vote on January 6th have not been sent by any presidential
at all.
by any presidential candidate.
Yeah, whatever. I don't.
Okay, man. What are we doing? I'm going to go ahead and restart. So you made the claim, right, that all of the Democrats that have lost in presidential elections in the last 50 years, Grace, thank you for the galaxy, have sent alternative slates of electorates to the ratification of the vote on January 6th. That claim is not true, okay? What is true is that the governor's offices of states in an election will typically send 1 or 2 slates of electorates to Congress with a vote saying that each candidate won, so that when they know the official outcome of the election from their state, they'll then just ordain the appropriate slates of electorates to cast the vote for the correct candidate. All right. But that is a legal process that is managed by the governor's office of states operating inside of their typical jurisdiction. But when we're referencing what Donald Trump did in the 2020 election, he didn't have an ordained official alternative slates of electorates come from these states to Congress. He sent unofficial, fake slates of electorates to these states that their governor offices knew nothing about to cast fake votes back to Congress saying that he won. And we even have the emails from the governor's offices of these 7 key swing states to Congress saying that we don't know where the fuck these votes came from, and they're just simply not true. So once again, when you know your history, when you're educated on American elections, you would never equivocate between genuine processes of the presidential election and Donald Trump's illegal attempted coup.
It wasn't an illegal attempted coup.
I just told you exactly how it was. I bet you didn't listen. And quite frankly, if you didn't listen, I'm going to kick you.
If I didn't listen to you saying that the governors appoint those electors?
If you didn't listen to my description insofar as how your argument was not the case.
Historically, if there's a contested election, there are alternate electors appointed.
That's also just simply not true. So the reason why there's been alternate slates of electors in Congress in the past is just simply because the governor's office sends 2 if the election is close, right? And then once the election results finalize, they then authorize the appropriate slate of electors. But that's like, once again, an official office that is consequential of the jurisdiction of the governor's offices. And what Donald Trump did had nothing to do with any legitimate jurisdiction over the slates of electorates. He literally just sent fake people to those states to cast fake votes back to Congress.
Okay, so answer me this, riddle me this, Batman. Why didn't it succeed?
Yeah, great question.
And
And I
here,
have a great
and
answer.
riddle me
Because
this,
Mike
riddle me
Pence.
this at the same time.
No,
This
no,
is
no.
the
I'm
same
gonna
thing.
answer one
No,
question at
same.
once. The answer to your
Okay.
first question is Mike Pence. Mike Pence did not feign ignorance towards Donald Trump's fake votes. He threw them out and he certified the votes for Biden because that was the legitimate outcome of the election. He then went on a mic and said that he places the Constitution above Donald J. Trump. And that's why you call him a backstabber. So I think you're a traitor to this country. And your first claim when you came up here was, how could any American ever not support Donald Trump? Well, that's how, because he's a traitor to this country, and so are you for supporting and condoning his actions.
Wow. Well, if you think what he's doing is bad for the country, like actually caring about the American workers first, actually trying to put people here at an even playing field with the rest of the world. I feel sorry for you, man. Like you're this elitist, idealist type of person. It's like education and authoritative groups, and let's point to this authority and that authority to try to validate our own point. And all those authorities were propped up by elitists that want to have that authority
Would you
and
label
have
yourself as
propped themselves up.
anti-elitist?
I would label myself as somebody who cares about people.
So you're anti-elitist, right?
No, I think if you have people who are
Okay, so you don't like elitists, right?
like, don't listen to me, that's fine.
So you don't like elitism?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I don't like people who.
This is so you. I mean, you just called me an elitist and said that was bad. So this implies that you don't
No,
like
I didn't.
elitists,
I didn't
right?
say it was bad. No, I say leaning on elitism and academia and all of the established order.
Leaning
to
on
validate-
an education.
To validate your points.
What?
Doesn't make them true.
Wait! Did
doesn't
you
make them
just
true.
tell me that using education to validate what I believe in is a bad way to live? Is a bad way to think? Wait! I just want to make this so clear.
Dude.
So your critique. I just want to clarify. Your critique of me is that I'm educated.
No, that's not what I said.
Yes, it is. You just told me
Well, you
that
got
I
really
lean
shitty
on
listening skills
education.
for a educated
You
person.
just told me that I lean on education to validate what I think, perceive, and feel, and somehow that's a bad thing. So in other words, I'm wrong because I'm smart.
No, I didn't say that again, but that's typical liberal. Great response.
Or maybe it's just a typical MAGA thing to not be able to describe how you feel because the way you feel is indescribable.
I said how
as it's
I
not
feel,
reliant
and
on facts, reason, or logic,
I
and it's
said how I
propped
feel,
up
and you
by your own
completely
ego,
missed it.
prejudice, and biases.
Or I described it, and you weren't listening. Maybe that's the alternative.
I don't know, man. When we have
Just
over
maybe.
10,000,
But I don't know.
When we have over
I don't know,
10,000 people in a room saying that is what you said, I don't think I'm in the wrong for hearing that. I think you're either lying or you didn't represent your view correctly in the way that you described it. I'm a nice guy. I'll allow you another chance to try to re-describe your view, okay? So I thought you said that leaning on academia, leading on education to, give credence to what I believe, right? My beliefs as a whole is a bad thing. And then you said, no, that's not what you said. So how about you rephrase it in a way that will make sense to me?
So I said elitism, authoritarianism, the established order of things, the way you look at who decides what is the authority and what is not. In like, what's that, bud? Yeah. Oh, Band-Aids. You go to Alley? Yeah. The way that you establish what is true and what is not true is all based on authorities. Formal education.
What?
Has
Bro,
become, hold on.
This is
I'm
so
not done talking,
this is
bro.
so hypocritical.
I'm not done talking.
You literally
Formal
think that Biden
education
rigged
has
2020
become-
because
wow.
an
Thanks for
authority
letting me talk, bro.
because an authority
thanks
said
for letting
so.
me talk. Thanks for letting me talk. Thanks for letting me talk.
Right, God.
Yeah, I think that formal education has been overrun by people who decide what is true and what is not true, and then tell people like you who now say they're educated and they can tell you how the world works. Dude, I want out of the system. I want the entire elite, like established order, to take a bath. Like it needs to change. Nobody is crashing the stock market on purpose. Nobody is trying to destroy the stock market.
Wait.
They are trying to give back to the American people the ability to produce things. They're trying to give back to the American people the issue of their currency. They're trying to give people the American, which is, by the way, 100% constitutional. If you read the Constitution,
Okay,
you'd
man,
know
you've been
that
speaking for a while at
issue
this
of our
point.
currency,
Can I butt in
the
here?
issue of our currency, is constitutionally a power that belongs to the Congress, which is the people's house. So
let me know
he's
when
trying
I
to
can
take away. Well, you asked me why I support Trump. He's trying to give back to the people the power that has been usurped from them by the elite group of people. Now, am I mad at the elite people for doing it?
Bro,
No, we've allowed them to do it.
This thesis has to come to an end so I could respond. Perfect. Okay. So there's one thing that you said in there that I picked up on. You told us that nobody's trying to intentionally crash the stock market. Donald Trump said he intentionally crashed the stock market, verbatim, explicitly.
I don't care. I don't care if he said that. What is the point of what he's trying to do? That's the whole thing. You can't see the entire, like, it's like you're stuck on one tree.
Oh,
there's a whole forest out there, bro.
God.
He's playing the entire field of what he's trying to do.
This is
I
unreal.
just expressed to you.
So this is so unreal to me. It is so unreal to me because you're right. You don't care. And I appreciate you for being honest. In fact, if you go to my main account and you look at the caption of my most recent post, it is, and I quote, MAGA doesn't care. Because you're right. You just simply play pretend. And you've demonstrated that to us on this live. You come up here and you pretend to be this rational person with principles. Okay? But you're not at all. Okay? Because you describe these principles to us. You're like, you love this country. You're a patriot. And you want to defend what's important to core American values. Okay? But earlier, when I pointed out that Donald Trump is the exact opposite of that, he has eroded core American values and explicitly called for the termination of the American Constitution, which underpins American values, right? You told me that you didn't give a shit, that you didn't care, all right? The mask came off when you can no longer just simply play pretend and act like you hold to any genuine principles or hold red lines against politicians. But I mean, all of this is just merely rhetoric, dude. It's just simply words that you speak so you're not totally ostracized from society. Or in other words, maybe it's also possible that you play pretend with principles to seemingly make yourself out to be a better person than you are. Because if you were honest with yourself about what you think and how you feel and how you're willing to do whatever it takes to support Trump, and you'll never hold a red line against him in your life, you'd have a worse vision of yourself, right? But I just also want to point out here at the end there, you told me that nobody's trying to intentionally crash the stock market, meaning that seemingly you hold to this principle that if one were to try to intentionally crash the stock market, that'd be bad, that'd be wrong, that'd be a very bad thing that shouldn't happen. But then when I tell you that Donald Trump has explicitly said he is intentionally crashing the stock market, guess what? That pretend principle goes out the window, then all of a sudden,
right? Is the stock market up or down today?
Is the stock market up or down? I haven't checked the app today. That's a red herring to the position. My claim was that Donald Trump intentionally crashed the market, and he said so, and that happened.
And what of it? What has happened since then?
What has happened since then? Well, we've had foreign investors pull out of American markets. It's like consumer to confidence. Like you asked me a question, and now I'm going to respond to it. We've had foreign investors pull out of American markets. We've seen a stagnation in American investment in American manufacturing. We've seen big companies seen big companies such as Stellantis fire over 900 employees. We've seen other countries consider imposing. Wait, what? You're saying it's a lie that Stellantis
$7 trillion of investment in manufacturing from foreign countries. Foreign companies, $7 trillion. That's never happened in history.
Oh, so, like $7 trillion since when?
Investment in manufacturing in the United States since he's taken office.
Okay, and what's that investment?
Damn near $7 trillion.
And what's that investment
in manufacturing plants here in the United States?
Okay, which ones?
You got the biggest chip manufacturer in the world. You got car manufacturers. I don't know all of them.
So
it's a lot.
So yeah, we're building chip plants.
Apple, $500 billion from Apple. I mean, dude, the entire world is coming home. The entire world is coming to the United States to build things here.
Great.
Pay American workers, pay American wages, get people what they like. not only that, it's a major national security problem if we don't have chips made here. Steel manufacturers are coming back. Like you are asleep at the wheel if you think that we're safe and China makes all of our steel. The minute China decides to go to war with us for whatever reason, whether it's Donald Trump or somebody else, if we don't have manufacturing here, we're dead.
Hey, do you know why we're
dead.
building more chips in America? Because the Biden-Harris administration passed a bill called the Chips and Science Act, in which was a multi-billion-dollar investment into chip producers inside of America so we could boost our domestic production from what was relatively 1% to 30% in the next 4 years. So this bill was passed through Congress. The federal government was authorized to spend billions of dollars on chip producers to subsidize them to increase their production. Manufacturing plants began construction under the Biden-Harris administration and are now continuing under the Trump administration because of the Chips and Science Act. You just told us that nothing happened. You named the chip producer that is moving to America because of that bill, right? And Biden predicted it all, right? He said we're building the strongest American economy ever. Right. And everybody knew that when there's any successes that were caused by by Joe Biden's great domestic policy for the American economy, you were going to basically associate it with Trump. And here you are doing that today. OK, and it's funny because essentially in a nutshell, you're saying that because it's happened under his administration, he caused it. OK, well, the markets are down 7% overall since his inauguration. Did he cause that, too?
I would say his policies absolutely caused it. I'm not in denial that what he's doing is changing things up. I am for a change up. That's what I'm saying. The reason that I'm pro-Trump is not because like I say, you guys get stuck on he said this, he said that, he said this, and he was going to do this, but he said this. Like I don't care.
We get stuck on false promises. You don't care about false promises. Thanks for being honest,
dude. Just let me finish.
I'll let you finish.
I care about the broad picture.
Okay. The broad picture. What does that mean?
What is he doing?
What is he
doing? That
means
he's putting tariffs on the rest of the world. I believe personally he's going to try to reduce income taxes on anybody under 300 grand to zero. I believe he's got
So we actually have a study from the Institute on Taxation and Economics in which did an evaluation of his proposed economic policy. And what it indicates is that every single American making over $395,000 per year will have more purchasing power as a result of his economic policy. However, every single American making under that dollar amount per year will have less purchasing power as his economic policy as a whole is regressive. And if you would like me to...
Based on what?
Yeah, based upon the fact that tariffs, right, increase the price of goods produced outside of America for American consumers, as well as they increase the price of goods produced by American manufacturers because we source raw materials from outside of America. And because low-income Americans spend a disproportionate amount of their money on the bare necessities to live compared to millionaires who save 20% of their income on average, what we see is they pay more of that tax proportionately speaking. So this means that his plan for blanket tariffs is an implementation of a regressive taxation system that is worse for you the less money you make.
If you only look at that one piece of it, yeah, I could see their mathematics working, but it's not just like one. Like if you're talking just about the tariffs, it's one piece.
It's the economic policy. It's all of his economic policy. That's the totality of the study.
So tell me this: what's his economic policy include? Just tariffs? The taxation bill.
So
what else?
it's tariff. So what we know right now is tariffs and taxes.
Oh, that's it.
Tariffs and tax cuts.
Oh, that's the fuckery there.
Yeah, that's the meat on the bone.
Who produces our currency?
Who produces our currency? I mean, like our money is printed by the Federal Reserve.
Who? Okay, and who's the Federal Reserve?
Who's the Federal Reserve? It's a part of the federal government checked by Congress, and they essentially manage the money. Not
read the charter. It's a privately owned bank.
False. So
read the charter. Read the charter,
sir. You're talking about the 12 banks that are managed under the Federal Reserve. However, the Federal Reserve is a government agency that is managed by Congress. However, the 12 banks that work under their jurisdiction are private. But this is a huge
Read the Federal Reserve Act of 1913.
I'm literally...
Read the Federal Reserve Act of 1913.
Dude,
read the Federal Reserve Act of 1913.
That's
the bill
who appointed Jerome Powell?
Nobody in Congress
who appointed Jerome Powell? Any answer? Also, nice pivot, by the way. I just want to clarify. Really nice pivot.
Well, it's the exact same. That's what I'm saying. Is the whole picture? It's not a pivot at all.
Yes, it is,
What I'm
because I
saying
was
is
describing to
it's
you
not.
that Donald Trump's economic policy
Economics.
reduces the
No.
purchasing power for everybody making under $395,000 per year. Then you're like, oh, the Federal Reserve is a private entity. So no, it's not. The federal board, okay, is checked by Congress, and in fact, even the president has some jurisdiction over the Federal Reserve. Like, for instance, here's a study. This is by the Washington Match. It's titled, Can Trump Fire Powell? Congress May Be Powerless to Stop Him. And this describes that under certain circumstances, yes, the president has some authority over the Federal Reserve. However, that is, of course, limited by the power the Federal Reserves hold, as well as the power of Congress. So, I mean, your claim that it's a completely private entity is utterly fucking false. It is fictitious and it's not true. But I don't want you to pivot. I want you to stay on subject because I want you to respond to
Why did that prove? How did that prove that it's not a independent agency? How did it prove that it's not an independent bank?
Because the fact that Congress and of course you asked me a question. You asked me a fucking question. Why do you start interrupting me when I start answering your questions? Your question is, how does that prove that it's not an independent agency? Because it shows codependence on the checks and balances offered to some extent by Congress and the executive branch of our government. Okay, if it was an independent agency, Congress and Trump would have no say at all.
Right. So let me get this straight. You think that because they allow the president and Congress to ask questions, and on occasion exert some small amount of authority.
The law literally says that the president can remove a member of the Federal Reserve's board for governor's cause, meaning like they're acting inefficiently, they're not doing a good enough job, and of course it is then checked by Congress, and there's ongoing debate about the extent of this law and how far-reaching that oversight would go. And unironically, by the way, Jerome Powell was fucking appointed by who?
Trump.
In his first term, exactly. So if it was a private independent agency, how the hell fuck did Trump appoint their chairman? Did he just ask kindly?
Let me ask you a question.
Jesus Christ. No, you're not going to ask me a question. No, you're going to respond to what I just said. Because you pivoted from debating Donald Trump's economic policy to you arguing that the Federal Reserve is bad. Okay? That's neither here nor there. And then when I leaned into that, and I described to you how it's not the case.
You need to learn how it works, dude. If you think that the Federal Reserve has nothing to do with economics.
It has nothing to do with a debate about Donald Trump's economic policy, but I leaned into it nonetheless, right? And I debunked your claim that it's an independent...
You decide the cost of money.
You are going to go ahead and stop interrupting me. Thank you very much. So we leaned into a debate about the Federal Reserve. You said that it was a private entity, right? I disputed that. I proved you wrong. I demonstrated their codependence on the checks and balances offered by other branches of our federal government, okay? And I want to go back to the question that I asked you because I'm not going to lie, man, I'm feeling left out of this conversation. What I think is happening is you want to be able to direct our conversation wherever you want it to be because you know if you were to genuinely answer one of my questions, you'd look really not smart. So let's focus on the meat on the bone. I allowed you to pivot to discussion about the independence or lack thereof of the Federal Reserve, and I told you why you were wrong, and I even gave you a source to justify my counterclaim. But I want you to give the same good faith to my claim about Donald Trump's economic policy reducing the purchasing power for every single American making under $395,000 per year. Also, Pickles, I appreciate you for the raid. I can't hear you when you're outside of the app. If you can't see me, man, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. If you just Google, is the Federal Reserve independent? It says, very first result, yes, the Federal Reserve is considered an independent central bank. Do you know what a central bank is?
So
it's a bank that's been, hold on, let me finish. It's a bank that has been given authority by whatever entity, governing entity there is, to produce the currency for that nation. Okay? There's lots of them all around the world.
When they
hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish my whole point.
When they label themselves as an independent central bank, all that means is that our government doesn't have unilateral control and say-so over the bank because checks and balances exist. There's an independent...
It is not a branch of government.
It is managed by the branches
It
of
is
government.
not managed by the government.
Oh my
It is
God!
not.
Yes, it is. I'm telling you,
No,
the Congress and the president both have some power over the
you're
Federal
pathetic,
Reserve.
dude. Stop muting me.
I'm
Stop
going
muting
to
me.
tell you the
I'm.
power they have over the Federal Reserve. Are
Oh,
you
you're gonna
ready?
tell me, dude? I'm telling you right now.
I'm
If you do
telling
research,
you once again, the Federal Reserve is
I am
under.
telling
You
you.
interrupt
If you do
me
some
once
research,
again, little boy, and I'm gonna start spam muting the button. The Federal Reserve is under federal oversight. What does that mean? When a chairman's term is out, right? The president gets to nominate the new chairman. Okay? If there's anybody on the board of the Federal Reserve, the president can kick them out for inefficiency, and that is by law. The Congress also has some say-so insofar as the ratification of the nominations from the presidency or ratification of other members on the board. What you take issue with is that it's really hard to remove the chairman of the Fed because they serve 12 to 16-year terms, and that is
I don't care.
almost independent from what the president wants or the president says. The reason that is the case is so the chairman of the Fed doesn't play politics, which is a really good thing. Right? If we were to give more control and say so to the president of America, or Congress to more oversight over the Fed, more than in which they already possess, well, all of a sudden the Federal Reserve is going to start playing politics, and they're going to do bad things with your money, either because the president thinks it'll be good for their campaign, or they want to set it up to be worse for the next guy. But I would like to clarify and be very clear with my assertion. The board, right, of the Federal Reserve is managed by Congress. The only unelected bureaucrat running an unofficial government agency that is not checked or balanced by anyone is Elon Musk with a Doge.
Let me ask you a question.
No, because you're going to answer my question. Once again,
you didn't ask me a question.
Yes, I did 10 minutes ago. My question was, if you think that Donald Trump is fighting for the middle class, well, explain to me why his tax policy only benefits people making over $395,000 per year while decreasing the purchasing power for Americans making under that dollar amount. That doesn't seem
I don't know
to be
this.
prioritizing the middle class.
I'm not gonna sit here and talk about a study that I haven't read. Here's what I will tell you.
Okay, so
if you think critically, let me say something. My gosh, bro.
So you're just telling me that you're not going to respond to my claim, right?
Just respond to your claim.
I don't.
I said I'm not going to talk through a study that I haven't read. If I was educated on the study, maybe I could respond to it. But I have no idea what you're even talking about as far as the study. So if you want to send me the study, I'm happy to read it for you, and we can get back on and talk about it.
I could even clarify. I could even clarify in that extent. That's a great answer. You're just saying that you don't want to talk about something that you haven't read. Well, there's parts of it that we could just deduce through critical thought.
I don't even want. Like I feel like you're trying to dodge what I'm getting to.
Everything that you're getting to has been in response to this question. If anybody's pivoting here, it's you. But yet I've entertained it out of the kindness in my heart. So you said that you didn't.
This is not a pivot. This is economic. This is the foundation of our economic system. Is the Federal Reserve,
sir? You said that you didn't. You said that you didn't want to respond to a study that you haven't read. So there's some things that we can have dialogue on. All right. The predominant reason why the study indicates that it's going to decrease purchasing power for lower income Americans is for the reason that I already gave you around 5 minutes ago. It's that tariffs increase the cost of goods, whether they're produced domestically or overseas, because once again, we source a lot of the raw materials we use to produce American-made goods from other countries. And the less money you make, the higher proportion of your income you spend on those bare necessities to live, which means you're paying more of that tax proportionately speaking. So it's a regressive tax, which reduces your purchasing power the less money you make. So that's like the thought behind the study. And I would really appreciate it if you could like respond specifically to that argument without pivoting or talking about anything else.
I am talking specifically about that issue, but you got to let me get to the point.
Yeah, sure. Get to the point that responds and debunks my position that Donald Trump's economic policy is regressive.
Like I'm responding in contrary to that, right? Okay, I'm not saying it is regressive, and here's the reason. In the old times before 1913, people would say a penny saved is a penny earned, right? That's a Benjamin Franklin, whatever. Why now, if you save money, ultimately, let's just say you put money aside and just put it in a savings account, it goes down in value. purchasing power, right? Your purchasing power goes down. If I put $10 away when I was 10 years old, today it would be worth way less as far as purchasing power than it is today, 20 years later.
So why does
Okay.
The question
Hold
you're
on.
asking is,
I'm not there yet. What you're dealing with a central bank, with the Federal Reserve, money is debt. Okay. Prior to 1913, Congress would issue money based on hard assets. What happens to the price of gold internationally when you let it sit in a safe? The value of the gold consistently goes up. Why? This is why it's in the Constitution. Gold is an asset that long-term gains value. Same as land, your house goes up in price, all those things. As currency inflates, the value goes down, okay? The value of your dollar goes down. If your currency is backed by something tangible, meaning if I had a dollar, this Federal Reserve note that we have now is based on absolutely nothing. It's worthless paper, okay? There's nothing that I can't go to the bank and say, hey, give me my dollar in silver. They'll look at me and like, what the hell are you talking about? In the old days, that's what they did. When the revolution started, Benjamin Franklin wrote, the refusal of King George to allow the colonies to operate an honest money system is probably the prime cause of the revolution. King George was trying to install a central bank on the founders of this country, on the patriots of this country. And they got together and they said, we don't want another slave debtor system that we've come from. We want to have a nation that is built on prosperity and actual ownership. Okay? What we're dealing with right now is a Jacksonian, revolutionary type of individual. Trump is a Jacksonian revolutionary thinker.
You have 10 more seconds. You have 10 more seconds.
Okay, his whole concept
10,
is the value
9,
of your money.
8,
well, don't listen to me.
7,
count down while I'm trying to
6,
talk, bud. That's really
5,
mature.
4,
Fuck you.
5, 3, 2, 1. So first and foremost, 1776 is not applicable in 2025 in the slightest. Second of all, King George has nothing to do with a response to my claim that Donald Trump's economic policy is regressive and reduces your purchasing power the less money you make. So at this point,
it does, because of the average person's value of their money. If we can go back to an average person working for a regular wage, if the value of their currency every year goes down 3-4%, what happens is they lose value and they constantly fall farther and farther behind if they're working for.
My argument is that Donald Trump's
working for a minimum wage.
policy.
If
their value of their is that Donald Trump's economic policy makes the purchasing power of the average American go down even further. You're describing to us that you hold a conception of monetary policy that would provide like a more stable recourse for the value of the dollar. I mean, it's just all it's I disagree, but seriously, arguing a gold-backed currency is neither here nor there in this conversation, because at the end of the day, the conclusion of your position is that you don't like it when money inflates and becomes less valuable. And my argument is that Donald Trump's economic policy will inflate the dollar. It will inflate the value of a dollar and make it less valuable. Like the conclusion of your position, right, is applicable to Donald Trump's economic policy. It reduces purchasing power for the average American. And I want you to address that. Okay?
I don't disagree if the value of currency continues to go down. I'm telling you is I believe
I'm going to kick you because I spent 30 minutes trying to get you to respond to the claim that tariffs cause inflation. Okay? And you talked about King George, you talked about 1776, but you never responded to the claim that Donald Trump's economic policy reduces the value of the American dollar. So at this point, we are going to move on to the next guest, you guys. If you're in the stream, y'all, make sure to drop a MAGA down below in that chat. We're going to get you up here. It is also worth pointing out, y'all, that if you're watching the live, and the live does get taken down because TikTok loves to ban us, in all honesty, the first thing that you should do is head over to my YouTube channel, link in bio, because I'm always dual streaming over there. That live never gets taken down. What's going on, Moses? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I just had a question. Do you think Trump will get a deal with Putin?
No, I think that he is historically sold out to Putin, and I do know that he's now begging Putin to stop bombing Ukraine. Like over 100 days since the election, when he said he could take care of it on day one. So I lost faith and hope a long time ago, and I hope that you do too. That's why electing Democrat politicians that actually care about Ukraine is very important to do. And we're gonna move on to the next guest. Everyone, go ahead and just give us a minute. What is up, Jordan? Do you support Trump?
Yes, sir.
All right, before we hop into our debate, I got a handful of people to thank here. Devin, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much for the love, Devin. And then Command and Hugo with a 10 pounds. Thank you. As well as Milo with a 5.
Oh, my.
Travis with a 5. And
Hey,
Dave with a
Travis.
$10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you for the love, Dave. Dave with another 10 as well. Chris with the 14 Canadian dollars as well. Thank you guys all so much.
Canadian.
As well as Brianna with the $25 over on PayPal. I want to see at least 250 Brianna's down below in that chat. Brianna says, my parents are also Trump supporters. You've helped me helped me a lot being able to have productive conversations with the fam. Brianna, I understand exactly how that goes and how that feels. I'm so sorry you got to struggle with that too. Show some love to Brianna down below in that chat for the 25. As well as I'd also like to thank Heather. Thank you so much for the $25 over on Venmo. Let's get 250 W's for Heather. My man Connor with a 10, 30 minutes ago. I hope you're still in here. Thank you so much for the love. And oh my God, Hannah with the $100 over on Venmo. Hannah, I really hope that you're still watching. I want to get 1,000 Hannah W's down below in that chat literally right now. Hannah says, Aiden, it was so great meeting you. We're so thankful for the work that you do. It was such an amazing event from Briar. It was so incredibly awesome to meet you as well. And yeah, thank you so much for showing up. That was especially awesome to meet you, Briar. Thank you so much for the love. As well as Grace, thank you for the 20. Khalil, thank you so much for the 10. Paula with a 5. And Danya with a 10. And yeah, we are all caught up. I haven't read out donations for around an hour because I was hyper locked in on that last conversation, but I do really appreciate y'all so much, as well as Brianna with a 5. Anyways, Jordan, can I get a quick W downers from you real quick?
L donors.
Okay, what about like
I
just a
work for my
W for
money.
Aaron just donated another 20 on YouTube Super Chat, dude. W Aaron, right? Am I right? And then Sabrina with a $14 Canadian over on YouTube Super Chat as well. Can I at least get a W Aaron?
W. Aaron. He probably worked for that money. Unlike you.
Oh, I don't work for the income.
Nah, you got soft hands, buddy.
You got soft hands? I guess I do now. My calluses went away. So are you basically saying if you don't work physical labor, then you don't have a job?
I'm saying physical labor is the groundstone of America, and Trump supports that.
No, you told me that I don't work because I don't do physical labor.
Yeah, physical labor is much more important than these TikTok streams.
So you could argue that physical labor is more important. My argument is that what I do is still important and is still work and is still a job.
Nah.
Okay, so what's a job?
A job is something that supports the economy and the United States as a whole.
So a job is something that supports the economy? So just
Yeah.
like the expenditure of funds increases GDP. So, I mean, all of these donations are increasing GDP growth. So seemingly it does support the economy, meaning that I do have a job.
Yeah, but it's not really a job. It's just
Okay, so
stream
then a
of
job is
income.
not something that supports the economy. So then what is a job?
A job is something that supports your environment that you live in.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, like my whole thing is working as hard as I possibly can inside of my ability to make life easier for as many people as possible. I'd say that's pretty supportive of those around me.
I mean, we can agree to disagree. But I'm just saying you have a sissy job and I have a manly job.
Okay, Jordan, that was the most cringy thing I heard all day. Real quick, how old are you?
I'm 19,
What year are you born in?
2005.
Okay, Mr. Manly Man, why don't you go ahead and tell us why you support Trump?
Because we gotta close them borders.
Oh, we got to close the borders. Were the borders open under the Biden-Harris administration?
Uh, they'll tell you it wasn't, but it really was.
Do you think they opened it?
Yep.
How do they open the borders, Jordan?
They open the borders by not enforcing the proper security to keep them closed.
Okay, so they just didn't enforce anything new, right? You're telling us they basically sat back, they just took a lack of action, and they let all of the policies that were already in place play out, but those policies weren't good enough, right?
Yep.
So you're basically telling me the policies that were set forth by Trump weren't good enough because those were the
No,
policies
that's not
that
what
they
I'm
were
saying.
apparently
Because they
riding
were
on.
not enforcing those policies.
So what policies were they
Why?
specifically
Wait.
not enforcing?
Tell me this. Tell me this.
No, you tell me what
Why?
policies they weren't enforcing so I could know how you think they opened the borders.
I can't tell you the exact policies, but I can tell you why are the borders crossing numbers so much lower now
I'll
that
answer
Trump's in
your
office
question once you
under
answer
the same
mine.
policies.
I'll happily answer your question after you answer mine.
So what just changed? I just told you I can't name the exact policy.
Okay, so then
Okay.
how do you know that they didn't enforce policy?
Because the numbers went up. The policy is to keep the numbers down.
Oh, okay. So you're basically saying because there was higher immigration numbers under their presidential administration, they must have caused that with their policy, right? So because we had the highest level of unemployment since the Great Depression in April of 2020 under Trump's first term, he must have caused that through his policy?
No, that was because of COVID.
So external variables can influence things in an economy, right?
Yeah, but
So then how do you know
what's
that
the-
external variables didn't influence higher levels of immigration under Biden and Harris?
what was the external variable?
No,
Please
the
enlighten
question,
me.
what were the external variables, is different from my question. How do you know there weren't external variables?
Because there wasn't. There wasn't a COVID.
So how do you know that?
Because there wasn't. What do
So
you
you're-
mean?
So you're basically saying you know it because you know it, right? So that's a
Yeah.
circular position that is ultimately rooted within your emotions, right?
No,
But like
it's
we're
not
here to talk
emotional.
about like
I
facts
work
and
with
research.
plenty of Mexicans, and I hear about it every single day. El Salvadorians. I work with all kinds of foreigners.
So the answer to my question, how do you know that there was not external variables in which influence higher levels of immigration under Biden and Harris, was you work with Mexicans?
Yes, because they didn't tell me
What?
they came here because of an exterior. What are you talking about, dude?
Jordan, I think the better question is, what are you talking about?
They didn't come here for a reason. Like, what do you mean? There wasn't anything pushing them out of their country.
In the last 4 years?
Yes, that was different from the
Do you
past
want, do
30
you want to know
years.
something crazy?
What?
Did
Go ahead.
COVID hit the American economy hard?
Yes.
Does America have the most, the largest, richest economy on the face of this planet? The strongest economy as well?
One of them, but I wouldn't say so.
Okay, well, I mean, good on you, because there are some Nordic countries with some more left-leaning economic models in which are doing it better. I want to expect that from you, but hey, man, the point of my question is America has a pretty damn strong economy. It's only the biggest on the face of this planet, but still yet when COVID hit, we were hit hard, right? How do you think countries south of America with economies a fraction of the size of our own were hit by the pandemic?
Just the same.
Harder, right? So when the pandemic hit, it hit everyone everywhere, right? And the average socioeconomic status quos in other countries was decreased significantly more than it was here at home in America, which gave individuals a significantly higher level of incentivization to want to immigrate to America for better quality of life. But when we put that total and complete shutdown of the southern border because of the pandemic into effect, Title 42, none of these migrants could come in through the legal ports of entry. So they were backlogged and they were placed in lines that were years long. When that order ultimately expired, all of a sudden, the legal means of entry into our country were less efficient than ever. And because they were less efficient than ever, those same migrants had more incentive than ever to use undocumented means of entry. And that's why we saw a massive spike in undocumented entry. So in other words, the
And you think that's a good
problem
thing?
of immigration under the Biden-Harris administration was caused by COVID and Title 42.
So why? Hello?
Hey, Jordan.
So why did the economy go back to
Jordan's getting a couple phone calls here. Hey, while
I know,
Jordan's
I'm
getting
getting-
phone calls, I want to thank Aaron for
I
the
am
$20 super chat over on YouTube, as well as Sausage for the $20 super chat on YouTube as well. Thank you, Aaron and Sausage. You guys are phenomenal. Everybody show some love to Aaron and Sausage. Sausage says, let's put this guess in the factories once Trump brings manufacturing back. Oh, because those are the manly man jobs, right?
I am the
anyways,
factory.
take it away. Please respond to my claim.
Okay, so why did the economy go back to normal, but the crossings didn't go back to normal?
So why did the economy go back to normal? So you do think that the economy rebounded from COVID under the Biden-Harris administration, and they did a really good job in managing that? Because I thought that
Not
you guys were the
completely,
ones that
but
argued
to
that
a
they
certain
destroyed the
extent, it
economy and
did.
never made it better.
To an extent, it went back a little bit lower than the inflation.
Oh,
It
right.
did to an extent,
Right.
but not
So then
back
you're
to
asking me why like
2016.
immigration numbers didn't decrease under their term? Well, I mean, actually, we had lower levels of immigration in the last 4 months of Biden's presidency compared to the last 2 months of Trump's first term, right? And that was impartially caused by rebounds in economies on the global stage from the pandemic and an executive order that Biden passed. But here, let me ask you this question. I think that Kamala Harris was better for immigration than Donald Trump, and here's why. Because I don't think that Donald Trump had any long-term policy to reduce undocumented immigration into America. Right? Can you name one thing he's ever ran on or implemented that will reduce undocumented entry into this country?
Build that wall, baby.
So you think a wall is a long-term solution to reduce undocumented entry? Why is that?
Absolutely. It makes the entry harder than just walking into a desert.
Okay. And out of curiosity, where is that wall?
In Texas.
Oh,
In
well,
New Mexico.
actually, there's about, 30 miles? So Donald Trump, 50 miles, sorry. Donald Trump built 50 miles of new wall under his first term. He failed. And then when the Biden-Harris administration, right, advocated to get the bipartisan border bill passed, they had obviously worked with Republicans, so it included more funding for more of that wall, which would have been built by them under their administration, than all of in which Donald Trump built during his first term. And he told Republicans to shoot it down. So it's funny because even if the border wall was a great long-term solution to reduce undocumented migration into America, seemingly the Biden-Harris administration, they were the powerhouse that was going to get the most of it built that has ever been built. And then Donald Trump was the one that made that plan crumble. So once again, even under your own views, Donald Trump wants to increase undocumented entry into America in the long term.
No, you just said he tried to build the wall and it failed.
And then under the Biden-Harris
No, you
administration,
asked for a plan.
he
That was the
torpedoed.
plan.
And then under the Biden-Harris administration, he torpedoed a bipartisan border bill that would have built more of the wall. He fought against building more of the wall than he ever did during his first admin.
No, because he's trying to get Mexico to pay for the wall.
No, he's not. No, he's never done that.
Yes, he
No.
is.
Under the first term, it was paid for via a reallocation by the DOD.
He's trying to get Mexico to secure the border as well, though, which is why he.
But that's
put the
neither
tariffs on him.
here nor there. Why are you pivoting out of the conversation? You said
Not
that
pivoting, I'm telling
yes,
you
you
why.
are, because you said that what we need is a wall. Okay, I disagree. I don't think a wall on its own is going to do shit. I think that's a baseless talking point for people with no education on the subject. But even if it was a legitimate solution, the Biden-Harris administration tried to build the most wall that has ever been built, and Donald Trump torpedoed and shot down that bill. Why did Donald Trump do that?
Because Mexico wasn't paying for it.
Did Mexico pay for the wall built under his first term?
No, but he was trying to get them.
So
to,
then why didn't
that's
he
the whole point.
torpedo and shoot down the building then?
I don't know. I gotta ask him.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, seemingly, then that's obviously not the reason he torpedoed and shot it down the second time.
I mean, that's a pretty broad opinion. You don't know that as a fact.
Yeah, we could induce that conclusion because he built the wall with a reallocated budget from the DOD under his first term, and he thought that it was a great plan. So why would he all of a sudden switch up under Biden and Harris?
I don't know. Just like the liberals switched up on Elon.
Okay, so you want to pivot to talk about Elon Musk? That's cute. It's not going to work. Stay on subject.
Oh, you don't like Elon?
Once again, pivot's cute. It's not going to work. Stay on subject.
Okay. What was the question again?
You already forgot. I've only repeated it 4 times. How about we try this? Name one bill that Kamala Harris ran on that you think would have been bad for a country.
All of them.
So name one.
The the CHIPS Act.
Okay, well, she didn't run on the CHIPS Act. She passed the CHIPS Act with Biden in the last 4 years.
That's
See,
pretty
unlike Trump,
stupid, though.
when she promises something, they get it done. So you thought that wait.
Well, no, Trump promised some stuff and he got it done, like the tariffs.
So actually, no, he was really bad with passing policy he promised. He tried to get the infrastructure bill passed every week for 4 years, couldn't get it done. Then Biden got it done in his first month in office with a worse split in Congress. But I want to clarify, what's one policy Kamala Harris ran on that was bad? Because you said all of them, so be more specific by naming one.
I wasn't looking in the Kamala's thing whenever I was voting because I already knew who I wanted to vote for.
So then how did you know it was bad?
Because I know she's a bad person. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
she's
vote
a bad
for
person. So you think that Donald Trump is a better person than Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
So Donald
He
Trump is
aligns
a
with my
rapist.
views more.
Donald Trump is a felon. Donald
No,
Trump
he
tried to
was-
religiously persecute and ban all new Muslims from coming into this country during his first term. Donald Trump has hit on 10-year-old girls, sexualizing them. Donald Trump boasted about walking into the changing room of half-naked teenage girls. What has Kamala Harris done?
I don't want to get you banned, but
So then censor your language and say it with TikTok appropriate terms.
okay, she went she read nighttime stories of somebody to get a better job, if you know what I'm saying.
So first of all, I would argue that being a literal rapist is worse than being a prostitute.
Well, no, you don't know
Right,
if that's true
but
or not.
but your
That's
claim
a-
about her doing that is absolutely false. In fact, it is just another
Your claim
disgusting
about Trump being a
misogynistic
great
position to shit on the woman because she's a woman. All right, but even if it was true, okay, being a P3DO rapist is definitely worse.
So what's her name? E. Jean Carroll? Is that her name?
Yeah, but actually, before we talk about E. Jean Carroll, you told me that you think that Kamala Harris was a P-stoot. We're just going to say that for TikTok. So why do you think Kamala Harris was a P-stoot?
Because she was with that guy.
Because she was a woman?
No.
Oh, okay. Then
said that.
why? Because she was with that guy?
I don't like how you just put those words in my mouth.
Oh, well, listen. No, I'm going to be very clear with how I feel. I absolutely think that the only reason you say that is because she's a woman and you're a misogynist. But
I'm not a misogynist.
but I'm willing to give you the mic to prove me wrong by giving me legitimate reason to inform that belief as not being consequential of misogyny. So if it's not consequential of misogyny that you think Kamala Harris was a P-stoot, what's the evidence? You said she was with a guy? Okay, so you think every person that's with a guy is a P-stoot? Hey, man, have you ever had a girlfriend?
Yeah.
So you dated a P-stoot because she was with a guy?
No.
Oh, okay, so just because you're with a guy doesn't make you a P-stoot. So what made Kamala Harris a P-stoot?
Well, you said I'm a misogynist, right?
Yeah, of course. And now this is your chance to prove me wrong by giving me like legitimate.
The only
reason to
person who
instantiate
knows
that she's
if I'm a
P-stoot.
misogynist is myself, right?
Well, no, apparently I do too. But once again, you do have the mic to prove me wrong. All that's required to prove me wrong is to give me reason to believe that she's a P-stoot. That doesn't relate to your prejudice against women. So we're waiting, man. I mean, you have the mic. I'm giving you a ample opportunity to prove me wrong.
Okay, she dated him, and then when she got her promotion, they broke up. It seems quite apparent.
So what's the promotion?
The DE, whatever her job was of California, the DA,
Oh, okay. So she became the DA of California?
whatever
So-
state she did the bar exam in.
So states, they don't have like a state DA. There's no
Oh, my
such
bad.
thing as a. Are you talking about a
Was it San
state AG?
Francisco or
Are
Los Angeles?
you talking
San
about like
Francisco?
are you talking about the like Attorney General of California?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Whatever
her
she did.
relationship. Wait, I have a question. Who did she date to get that position?
I don't know. I don't keep up with that. I just know.
Okay,
she
then
failed
how
the
do you know
bar
she
exam.
dated
And
somebody to
nobody
get that
who fails the
position?
bar exam should be getting that
So
position.
how do you know that? Oh, but apparently a rapist should be able to get into the White House, and she passed the bar exam. It's quite hard. You should try it sometime, but you'd never get into the door of a law school. Anyways,
so?
once again, I know so. Once again, so how do you know she dated somebody to
Jake
become the
Vance
AG
did.
of California?
What happened?
How do you know she dated somebody to become the AG of California?
Because Charlie Kirk told me.
Oh, so if Charlie
no.
Kirk says something, it's true.
Yeah, he actually says a lot of true stuff.
So your basis of like fact is Charlie Kirk.
No, news outlets as well.
Okay. See, this is the problem with America, you guys. Apparently, if Charlie Kirk says something, it's true. So who you're talking about, his name is Willie Brown. He was a mayor of San Francisco 20 years before she was the AG of the state of California. And they had briefly dated around 10 to 15 years before she got that position. So tell me how a mayor from 20 years ago could get her 15 million votes in a statewide race.
Because he put her in the position to get those votes. You don't think so?
What was the position that he put her in? Like the put her in the position to run?
Yeah.
Okay, and how did he do that?
Because he was also
Oh,
what did he
oh,
do?
now you have no fucking clue what to say. That's crazy. No, all that you're trying to do is undermine a woman because she's a woman.
No.
Yes. No. Yeah. That's it. That's ultimately true. Okay. Because if you wanted to have this conversation about
I do the same thing to
putting
a man.
people into positions of power to be able to run for a public office, well, I mean, you would be like this independent anti-DNC, RNC against the institution as much as possible. Okay. Because we have we have money in super PACs that we have nowhere where it goes that funds politicians on both sides of the aisle to better position themselves for future candidacies in election. Okay. There's so much money in politics that is put there just to fund people's campaigns. You've never talked about that, but that is legitimately something, putting people in positions to run for positions of power that they'd otherwise be underqualified for. But no, your only issue here is with a woman that dated a man that became an AG of a state 15 years later because she got 15 million votes.
Okay, and you're saying that
So tell me how
that
her
she's a
sleeping
woman.
with a man
Hold on,
15 years ago
Hold on,
got
hold on.
15 million constituents from California to vote for her.
You're saying I'm only saying these things about her because she's a woman.
Yeah, of course. Because if you
Okay,
wanted
but
to have a
I'm a
legitimate
white straight.
if you wanted to
I'm
have
a-
a legitimate
I'm a white
conversation,
straight
if you
male, and so
of
is
course.
Tim
So the
Walz,
only reason,
and he's
if you wanted to have a legitimate conversation about qualifications for presidential nominees, you would have voted for Kamala Harris. She was more qualified than Donald Trump in every single conceivable sense. And by the way, engaging in a little bit of a hypothetical here, imagine the only reason she was in that position was because she was a woman and she had no legitimate qualifications. And reality was exactly as you described. Yeah, I would feel really embarrassed about Trump then, because this lady who was only in that position because of what was in between her legs with no legitimate qualifications just was somehow infinitely more qualified than the billionaire businessman, right? I mean, what does that tell us about him?
Okay, can I finish what I was saying?
Yeah, feel free to continue to tell me that Kamala Harris was a bad person because she was in a relationship while you continue to support the guy that's hit on children and wanted to exclude all Muslims from America, wants to pass economic policy to redistribute wealth from the poor to the rich, raped a woman, committed
Little
34
man syndrome.
felonies, unironically tried to coup and rig the outcome of a presidential election. I mean, it's a terribly embarrassing look for you. So continue to speak.
Okay, so Tim Walz, right? He was handed his position to be the potential vice president. He wasn't qualified for that.
A conversation about Tim Walz is neither here nor there. I liked him, but I want to talk about Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
No, because you said I'm only doing this to Kamala because she's a woman, but the same thing happened about Tim, and he's a white straight male, just as myself.
Okay, so what I said specifically as it relates to Kamala Harris is you called her a fucking prostitute.
I had never said those words, actually.
Yes, you did. Quite frankly, yes, you did.
No, I
yes,
actually
you
did
did.
not.
Yes, you did. You said, how do I say it without getting bananaed? And then you went on to describe her as a quote-unquote
I said she dated him.
LADEA of the night. And then I was like, oh, so you mean pea-stute? Let's use that word for
I don't
TikTok
think you know
Live.
what that
And then
word
I went on to
means.
ask you why you think she's a pea-stute. And then you went on to describe why you think she's a pea-stute, why you're now shifting the goalposts and acting as if there's not 10,000 people actively listening into this conversation.
Okay, I never called her a pea stute.
Yes, you
she
did.
Wasn't.
Yes, you did. Stop it. You
She
did.
she was dating a guy for a raise. That's not a pea stute.
You have no evidence to justify that claim. You didn't even know who he was. You didn't know his name. You didn't know when they dated. You didn't know what he did. You're
Little
just
man
baselessly
syndrome.
propagating the same misogynistic claims because your IQ is equivalent to my family dog and you've been socialized to be a piece of shit by people like Charlie Kirk and other thought leaders on the right. You've been conned. You've
Little
been
man
indoctrinated.
syndrome.
What is little man syndrome? Is that
That's what he
something that
has.
you and every single one of your buddies that support Trump's has because you feel like
No.
there's nothing you could be on your own, so you want to join a part of a larger movement that intends to try to destroy this country, and that gives you this false feeling of self-importance? Or is it just something that you're going to accuse me of when I'm absolutely dog walking you with fact, reason, and logic, which is something you know nothing about?
You know what you know nothing about?
How the fuck you got from point A of being like this newborn sweet baby that had parents that loved you into
I'm
being
very
an
sweet.
adult
I help
man
the homeless
that is
every weekend,
calling
so
the work I do sissy work, screaming about how a random woman you've never met that ran for the presidency was a fucking prostitute? Come on, bro.
I
That's
do
so
more
that's
for
that's
I
so
do more than you
disingenuous.
do.
That is so
Come on.
disgusting too.
Come on, I help my environment and then I do philanthropy on the
So I
side.
want,
So
I once again, I
you
want
do
you to
nothing.
respond to my claim. Who's worse, the rapist or the non-rapist? Who's worse, the person that wants to take wealth from the poor and give it to the rich, or the person that wants to increase the purchasing power of 100 million American workers
You
and the
call
low
him
and
a
middle
rapist,
class?
but why should she wait 20 years to say anything about it?
So actually, let's ask a better question. Why do 60% of women that get raped never report it to anybody in their lives?
I don't know. I'd be telling everybody.
Because people like you exist. There is consequences that come as a result of reporting rape as a woman in America, because there's many men such as yourself that use that to simply blame the victim and act as if they're the bad guy and make their life worse. Shit, she literally got fired from her job, right? She was an author and a reporter for over 30 years. The moment she tells the world that she got raped, she's fired from that position, and 49.9% of her country laughs in her face, votes for a rapist, and calls her a liar. Okay? Do you want an analogy? In fact, I am going to use an analogy. If you were really thirsty, right, and there was a cup of water that you knew was clean sitting right in front of you, would you drink it?
No,
What?
it's not my water.
Did you hear what I just asked you? If you were really thirsty and there was a cup of water sitting in front of you that you knew was clean, it was your water, would you drink it?
I mean, sure, I'll play along with this, but no. But I'm gonna say
So
yes for you.
you just said, so like you said you'd say yes for me, but like the real answer would be no. So if you're thirsty, you just wouldn't drink water?
I mean, if I'm in my house and I see a water and I'm thirsty, I'm not gonna pick up the water. I'm gonna go pour myself a cup.
So if you
I
were
could steal
thirsty,
somebody's water.
no. If you were thirsty and you had a cup of your water that you knew was clean sitting in
Oh,
front
it's
of
my
you, would
water?
you drink it?
Yeah, I drink my water.
Okay. Right. Without any hesitancy, right? Because you know that it's safe, you know it's clean, you know it's not going to cause you any harm.
Yeah, it's my water.
But if you were really thirsty and you got a cup of water from a river that may not be clean, may not be safe, and may cause you some harm in the long term, would you drink it then, or would you maybe hesitate first?
If that's the only option, I would drink it then.
What if it wasn't the only option? What if you could go without drinking it?
Then obviously I would not drink it.
Oh, great. Because it could like potentially lead to more harm against you in the long term, right? There's maybe some negative consequences that would exist there from drinking water from a river. And I mean, the conceptual point here is in the same way, if we could promote and cultivate a society in which would include no negative consequences for grape victims coming out about the fact that they were raped, and we as a society all agreed that grape is wrong, and when somebody grapes somebody else, they're a bad person that deserves to be granted repercussions and not defended, we would see the propensity of women that are willing to come out about their experiences increase dramatically. But that's not reality. We live in a world where, as I already described, victims are blamed, victims are hurt, victims are harmed, and the rapists roam free with no consequences. I mean, shit, in this circumstance, they were elected into the most powerful position known to mankind, right? And because of those negative consequences that can exist for victims coming out about what happened to them, right? Many people do wait 20 years, like Eugene Carroll did. Many people never report it at all.
But why'd she sue him instead of like taking him to jail?
So why did she go to? So
Maybe
she went to a civil
consequences.
court instead of a criminal court because the criminal statute of limitations had passed, but the civil statute of limitations had not passed. Bud.
So she is gonna take him to go to jail eventually.
Okay? So statute of limitations on a crime is basically if this crime was committed past the statute of limitations, it can no longer be litigated. Right? They have no jurisdiction to delegate consequent reprimand or punishment for that crime because the statute of limitations passed. So her statute of limitations to take him to criminal court had passed, right? But she still had the availability to take him to civil court. So in other words, she literally couldn't, because of the law, take Donald Trump to a criminal court.
So he didn't break the law. Okay.
What?
If he's not being held for it in the law, he didn't break the law.
So in the state of New York, there's a statute, or there was a statute of limitations on grape in the 90s. So if you were to have graped a child in the 90s, right, today, you could not be criminally prosecuted. Does that mean that if you graped a child in the 90s, you didn't break the law today?
No.
Good boy. Thank you for using your last 2 brain cells.
Okay, little guy.
You're calling me little guy? I'm going to laugh that one off.
How tall are you?
How tall? Wouldn't you like to know?
I know in that profile picture, you'll level with that coat hanger. Those are usually about like 5'6".
Cute, Jordan. Do you want to respond to what I said?
Who's your little puppy? Who's a good boy?
Not you. You're being a terrible boy. Very bad boy. Now respond to what I said, okay? Or are you like just starting to like freak out and like lose any coherent sense on reality because you just got owned?
No.
Of course, yeah, bro. You're like you're like saying, who's a good boy? You're talking about puppies. You're asking me how tall I am and looking at my profile picture after I just debunked you. So once again, you said that if a statute of limitation passes on a crime that you committed, that means that you didn't commit a crime. All right. I used a hypothetical to prove you wrong. All right. Once again, the hypothetical was we just got this stream taken down for harassment and bullying. All right. We'll either be back up there in like 5 minutes or on another account in 10. The guests today have been absolutely insufferable. Amy, thank you so much for the $20. Sorry, for the 24 pounds over on YouTube Super Chat. Amy says, politics aside, it's obvious that I agree if I'm donating, but separately as a lover of competitive debate, so much respect and admiration. We were shown your debates to study it and argumentative speaking in school here in Ireland. No way, really? That's so cool, Amy. Thank you for the $24 and for letting me know that. That's awesome. As well as Chels Bells, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. And then Sausage, thank you so much for another 20. You guys are awesome. Let's also go and show some love to the donors on Venmo. Lillian, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. Cecilia, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo from 10 minutes ago. Everybody, please show some love to Cecilia. Cecilia says, hey, Dean, I'm a college student at CSU and I love what you're doing. Would you ever consider coming to Fort Collins? Thank you for everything. Yeah, I went to Boulder for 2 years. I think like if we do end up continuing the events, that we'll make a stop at Boulder, which is like 40 minutes away from Fort Collins. As well as Holden, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo, saying second time donor. I work at Trader Joe's based, and I order in all the frozen foods for my store. The tariffs have been making my job so much harder because Joe's is basically all imports. Here's those to bashing the tariffs. Love you, my man. Well, thank you so much for the $20. Love you too. And Trader Joe's is the best store ever. Great employer, man. As well as Cheyenne, thank you for the $25 over on Venmo, and Rebecca with a 10. You guys are awesome. Wow. As well as Heather, thank you so much for the $25. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're watching and you'd like to support me, I'd heavily implore you to support me over Venmo or PayPal, which you could find in the link tree in my bio, or sorry, we're not on TikTok, in the pinned message, or in the what do you call it? The description of the stream. And yeah, I do really appreciate everyone so much for the love. You guys have been so kind today. Oh my God, Allison, thank you so much for another $50 on PayPal. Allison, thank you so much for the love. Dude, I want to see 500 Allison W's down below in that chat right now. That is insane, dude. Thank you so much, Allison. As well as Christopher, thank you for the $17. John with a 10 and Brianna with a 25. Everybody show them some love. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Yeah, we got banned on TikTok for like harassment and bullying or something. Yeah, appeal not approved. Bruh, dude. Unreal. I'm going to crash out. You know, taking 3 days off was really nice. Because I didn't have to deal with these fucking burns, man. Oh, dear Lord, dude. All right. Oops, not that posture. Yeah, let me just go ahead and get the phone out of the grip. I probably look weird as hell, like leaning over on the phone and the tripod. Hey, welcome in everybody that's coming over from TikTok. I really appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, we got a ban on the account that we were on. We are going to go ahead and head over to another account that we have access to. Ellen, I thank you for the $5 over on PayPal saying, oh my God, Charlie Kirk is so scared of you. Yeah, man, he was definitely scared of me at the event. But hey, really awesome update. We actually have a scheduled talk with Charlie Kirk in the next month, I think. So his executive producer reached out and he was like, man, we want to have you in the studio for a sit-down convo. Probably in response to the fact that him dodging the debate has gotten like over 3 million likes, I think. Maybe a little bit closer to 2. And everybody is calling him out on his bullshit. Like even Trump supporters. Like, I mean, wow. It is crazy how much the internet came together and called him out for being an absolute runner. Bro is running. Yes. Bro is running. All right, y'all. By the way, we're like getting closer and closer and closer to 1 million followers on Instagram. Oh my God. The day we hit 1 million followers on Instagram is going to be just insane. That is going to be so fucking crazy. Man, dude, that's going to be a landmark for sure. 1 million followers is huge. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. Yeah, we're like 150,000 followers away. And it's funny because I was actually at like 700K yesterday. So we've got over 100,000 followers in the last 24 hours. Anyways, that aside, we're going to go ahead and hop right back into the debates. I'm going to go ahead and spam the @ for the TikTok account down below in that chat. And I'm going to send everyone over there. Also, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone that has been showing love for the first stop in Texas of the Unfuck America tour. That was one of the best times in my life. I loved it so much down there. And then I also really loved meeting you guys. I really loved meeting you guys while I was down there. I think I stood out, in like the hot sun, the pavement. What was it? For like 2.5 hours taking pictures with people. And I felt really bad because even at like the end of 2.5 hours when I just had to go, because we had like to go speak, I felt really bad because there's still a lot of pictures of that I wasn't able to take with a lot of people, and I felt really bad. But it was just such a cool experience to be able to meet some of you guys that showed up. I loved it so much. I really want to do it again. And yeah, that's it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and spam the @ to the TikTok. Just add it might be Dean. You'll see it down there in the chat. As well as we have a couple people to thank, like Maddie! Dude, oh my God, Maddie. Maddie, thank you so much for the $100 donation over on Venmo. Dude, that is fucking crazy, Maddie. Oh my God, Maddie says, hope you're well. Happy to be able to watch you on YouTube. Yeah, hell yeah, Maddie. Dude, thank you so much for the $100 donation. That is seriously fucking insane. Thank you. Everybody, please show some love to Maddie down below. Maddie, we all love you here. Show some love to Maddie right now in that chat. As well as, let's see, a couple other people before we go live. Rachel, thank you so much for the $10 donation over on PayPal. Rachel says, keep those hands soft and the tongue sharp, King. Thank you for the $10, Rachel. You know, my hands haven't always been soft. When I was heavy in the gym, they had all these calluses on them. But, like, honestly, they were uncomfortable. Calluses suck, man. But thank you so much for the $10, Rachel. As well as Rebecca, thank you for the $30 on PayPal. Oh, my God. 300 Rebecca W's. Rebecca says, hey, Dean, The people from your Discord want to know if you read the live channel during your debates. Actually, sometimes I do. I used to have it open nearly every stream. Now it's a little bit more complicated since I'm also managing like the YouTube stream and I can't have like multiple panels open at once. So right now it's like typically OBS, which I use to stream, and then YouTube on my computer. But every so often I do open it up. And you're right, there's a lot of cool people in there. And then Greeny, thank you for the $20 super chat over on YouTube saying he's a runner, he's a track star. Bro, he ran straight up. Oh my God. Okay, then one last thing. One last thing before we go live on Adam IB Dean. The editors on that clip I posted of like Charlie Kirk running from me, fucking 8. I have never seen better editing. Because let me tell you, the editors of like, they took the 1 minute TikTok that kind of detailed how Trump was running from me. That was out of like 3 hours of content, right? Because I was there all day trying to get this guy to talk to me. And they condensed it perfectly from like 3 hours into 60 seconds. They were able to like perfectly construct the narrative of exactly what happened when I was boots on the ground. And I was so proud of them. Really skilled people. But all right, guys, let's go live at It Might Be Dean on TikTok. We're there. As well as I'm going to join from my main account. Amanda, thank you for the $5 over on PayPal. You were the best, quite frankly. That's right. Love you, Amanda. Okay. All right. Hello. What is going on, Kay? Welcome in, guys. For everybody tuning in on that YouTube. Dropped my house key. And for everyone tuning in on that YouTube. Oh, wait. Sorry, not YouTube. On that TikTok stream. Welcome in. We were banned on the other account for bullying. I wasn't being the nicest person to the last 2 guests. They were pretty annoying. And hey, man, I need to get better at that. I need to be a more respectful person. I know. That's my bad. So we're going to be trying to do that right now. If you're one of the first 600 people tuning back into that TikTok live stream and you want to see some debates, all you got to do is double tap away in that phone screen, share out this live stream with a handful of friends, and drop a couple MAGAs down below in that comment section, and we're going to get you up here for a conversation. Y'all, let's see if we could build this stream back out. And we were at like over 9,000 people in that last TikTok stream. So just know that we will be able to get the ball rolling. It may just take a minute. But hey, if you are one of the people tuning in to the new TikTok live stream and you want to come up here and have a debate because you support the president, all you need to do is hop in that queue and drop a MAGA down below. Drop a MAGA. All right. As well as we're going to invite this guy named Sal Soul up. Sal Soul, please accept the invitation. But yeah, no, guys, let's go to get that first guest up of the night, y'all. If you are in that queue, make sure that you support Trump. We're going to go to get Christina loaded into the live right now. Christina, I really hope that you're a Trump supporter because keep it in mind, we're only looking to talk to Trump supporters. Hello, Christina. Do you support Trump?
I didn't mean to hit it. I was letting my dog outside.
No worries, Christina. Have a good rest of your night. W-Dog-W-U. All right. Moving on to Summer Lee. Summer Lee, please be a Trump supporter. Actually, looks like Summer Lee left. Moving on to Leah. Leah, please be a Trump supporter. Leah left too. Thank you guys for leaving. By the way, I do appreciate it. Let's go get Lisa up here. Lisa, please be a Trump supporter. All right. Yeah, shout out to account 11 for real Maze. Yeah, this is the backup of backups. Not that many people spamming MAGA down below in that chat. Once again, that's just because we're on like the backup of backups. The best way to get more Trump supporters in here for debates is to drop a couple likes for the stream, share this out with a couple friends, copy that link. It does the same thing and spam that comment section. But what's going on, 1,000? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
You do? All right. Real quick, what time is it?
It's 2:33. I'm in California.
Nice. All right. Here real quick before we hop into our discussion. Girl Things, thank you so much for the $30 donation over on PayPal. I want to see 300 Girl Things W's. Says the beast from Grand Junction, go forth and make truth ring. Dude, I appreciate you so much for the love. And I mean, because you included Grand Junction in your message, it makes me wonder if you're from here as well. But thank you so much for the $30, as well as Maxine. Thank you for the $15 over on PayPal. Everybody shows Girl Things and Maxine some love, as well as Chris. Good to see you, brother. I hope that you had safe travels. Thank you for the galaxy, man. But take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
Could we do it where you tell me what you don't like about?
Yeah, sure. I don't like the fact that he wants to consolidate power, seemingly consolidate a lot of power to the executive branch of our government. I think he wants more control, even if it's at the expense of civil rights, liberties, freedoms, as well as checks and balances. And I think he's demonstrated that to us in 2020 when he tried to steal the election from Biden, 2022 when he called for the termination of the Constitution, or most recently by ignoring orders from the Supreme Court and actively stating that he's not going to follow them. Alongside many other things, yeah.
So yeah, those are pretty solid points. I would have to disagree though, because he is the Lord of our universe.
Get out of here, bro. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, y'all. Yeah, he is the. I wish that more Trump supporters would just say that. Quite frankly. Berkeley and Caleb, guys, thank you both for the 5. Yo, what's going on, Punex? Do you support Trump?
What's up, Dean? I do not. I am a hardcore leftist, but I want
Based. I had to kick you not only because you don't support Trump, but like also I'm pretty sure that you're driving. But hey, man, nonetheless, thanks for popping up. And man, if you're one of the 2.1 thousand people tuning into the live, we're on the backup accounts right now because we got banned everywhere else. So yeah, guys, if you could share this live out with a handful of friends, etc., it'd be really helpful for the stream. What's going on, Catherine? Do you support Trump?
I mean, I don't really know. Like, I'm
Okay, we're going to move on to the next guest. The best place for you to be if you don't know is honestly just to be watching the stream. Maybe I could give you a couple of reasons why you do know. It's really good. It's great, quite frankly. Moving on. Here we go. All right, what's going on, Max? Do you support Trump?
Hell no. But I want to ask you a question. So, a friend of mine.
I'm sorry, Max. Just looking for debates. Hope you understand. I appreciate you for coming up, though, man. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, everyone. We got Sophia loading up. Sophia was spamming MAGA down below in that comment section. I swear to God, to me, if you're lying, Sophia, you're going to get banned. Do you support Trump?
Hi.
Hi, do you support Trump?
Oh. Well, my voice is like, I'm sorry. I'm also watching this on YouTube. I just wanted to say, like, you are really big inspiration on me because I've been, like, really into politics recently, and it's really comforting to me.
Sophia, I love you. And I think that is very kind of you. And I think that you are a phenomenal person. And I don't want me removing you from the live to come off as rude. And I do really appreciate that. But we are only looking for Trump supporters. She was even spamming MAGA in the comment section. Oh, brah. Y'all, please don't do that to me. I love y'all, but please don't do that to me. What's going on, Elena? Do you support Trump?
Hi, Dean. I do.
Okay. How old are you?
16.
Okay. You got to be at least 18 to be on TikTok Live. Goodbye, quite frankly. Moving on, here we go. We got Dalen loading up in the box. Here we are, everybody. All right, guys, let's get that next guest up in here, y'all. What's going on? Dalen, do you support Trump?
From now on. Oh, when I come home, downstairs.
Dalen's doing something. She seems a little bit preoccupied, so quite frankly, we're going to kick her. All right, moving on to the next guest here, y'all. Here we go. What's up, Kay? Do you support Trump? Kay left really fucking quickly. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna lose my mind, quite frankly. I'm gonna lose it. That's right. It's gonna be gone. It's gonna be lost. It's gonna be lost. Moving on to the next guest, EC Kicks, loading up into the box right now. If you're one of the 2.7 thousand people tuning in, thanks for being here. Make sure you're double tapping. Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're spamming that comment section before I lose my mind. Hello, EC. Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay, why? He left. Bro, why did you leave? Did he got like stage fright or something? I don't know, but he left. Okay. Bye. I guess he just wanted to come up here and tell us that he supports Trump, but that's it. All right, this next guest is named Cryptic Van Life. This is a 50-50. Hey man, are you liberal? Yeah, they're liberal. They left. All right, guys, we're going to try to just pull from that comment section. Go ahead and drop a MAGA down below if you want me to pull you up here. That's right. Let's try to get Tyler up here. Everyone, just go ahead and just give us a minute, y'all. Really just looking for debates. It's not working out, though. 3,000 people in the live, not one person that wants to debate, regardless of how many people you think are spamming MAGA in that comment section. They're typically either trolls or liberals. Like, I don't know. I wish that y'all would stop doing that. Like, look at this. This guy, Joshy, that's loading up into the stream. He's been spamming MAGA all day. What's up, Joshy? You support Trump?
I do.
You do? How old are you?
18.
Can you please stop fucking with the mic, man?
Pardon?
Oh, you said pardon. What time is it?
It is 10:30. Well, 10:40.
All right, unfortunately, we are just looking at debate individuals that are from America and at least 18 years old, y'all. So go ahead and just give us a minute to get that first guest of the live up here, y'all. Just still looking for that next debate, y'all. He was British. He was British, y'all. Everyone, what's going on? Adrian? Adrian?
Oh my gosh. Hi, Dean. I love you.
Hi. Oh, hi. I love you too. Thank you so much for popping up. But we are just looking to debate Trump supporters. Moving on. Quite frankly, holy shit. Looking for that next guest. What's going on? We got ComFW loading up. Hi, do you support Trump?
Yes.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18. All right. So why do you support Trump, man?
I just agree on a lot of his policies and like also like my religious beliefs. I wouldn't support Kamala Harris. I would rather support Trump.
Okay, what's your religion? Are you Christian?
I'm Catholic.
Catholic. Okay, first of all, Rip Francis. Second of all, Francis, the Pope of your church, really didn't like Trump or Vance. He actually ordered one of his cardinals to give Vance a talking to about compassion, and he's been in vehement protests of Donald Trump's immigration policy and treatment towards migrants for like the last 3 months. Before he died. So, I mean, do you agree with Francis? Do you agree that we should protest Donald Trump's treatment of immigrants?
I feel like that
dude,
immigrants shouldn't be allowed to
dude, not the question I asked you. Do you agree with like vehemently protesting and speaking out against Donald Trump's treatment of immigrants?
What you're saying? Wait, what are you saying?
I feel like I made it clear. I guess I could repeat myself. Do you agree that we as a people should all vehemently protest Donald Trump's bad treatment towards immigrants to try to get him to stop because it's really terrible?
I disagree. I
just told you Pope Francis's view. Okay, so don't give me any of this religious bullshit. Okay, you think that the Pope, right, via a succession of popes, right, from Saint Peter, who you believe Jesus gave the ability to start his church, start the Catholic Church to, and these popes can even like speak in an unfathomable sense when they sit in their chair, their papal chair, under very strict circumstances. I mean, they're like the closest humans to God. All right, the most enlightened humans alive. So let me ask you this. Why do you disagree with a goddamn pope? As a Catholic, why do you disagree with a pope?
So, okay. I got it, like... Alright. Thank you for letting me on here. I give up.
Wait, before you leave, like, seriously, let's just try to have a good faith conversation here. As a Catholic, why do you disagree with the Pope?
I don't know, I disagree with the Pope because I feel like like somebody who illegally came into the country shouldn't be allowed, like somebody shouldn't be illegally allowed to come into the country.
But dude, he's like the Pope. Oh, listen, thank you for the meteor shower. I mean, I feel like it's so cut and dry for you. It's like so cut and dry for you. You're a Catholic, okay? Who's your leader? Well, I guess who is the leader of the church on earth today out of humans?
The Pope, but
the Pope. He's your religious leader on earth, right?
Yes.
Right.
He's my religious leader, but he's still he's the Pope, but like I don't agree on like every single thing he agrees on. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
I mean, arguably the Pope has a closer relationship with Jesus than you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree too, but
So, like, the Pope is more likely to follow the true teachings of God than you, right?
yeah, but
Not to mention the Pope, under certain circumstances, can literally be unfathomable, right? Which means
hmm
under certain circumstances, the Pope can do nor say no wrong.
yeah. Okay,
Honestly,
okay.
thank you so much for
So
the money again. So if you're telling me, do you think that Donald Trump aligned more with your religious values than Kamala Harris, and the Pope obviously disagrees, and you're a Catholic, seemingly we should both give more credence to the Pope's position.
here, let me tell you, the reason that I voted for Trump was because Kamala Harris's beliefs on like abortion and like just other stuff like that. I don't know. I'd rather vote for Trump than Kamala Harris.
Kamala is how you pronounce her name.
Oh, my bad.
So let's start here. Do you agree with the New Testament when it states that all sins are equal in the eyes of God outside of blasphemy?
Wait, repeat that. Sorry.
Do you like agree with the view of Christianity that according to God, all sins are equal in his eyes outside of blasphemy?
Yeah.
Okay. So should it be illegal to tell your children that Santa Claus exists because it's a lie?
No, but
Okay.
that's
Well,
that's different.
no, we just agreed that it wasn't different because we just agreed that those two sins are viewed identically in the eyes of God. So if it shouldn't be illegal to lie, how come it should be illegal to get an abortion? If we're going to operate our legislation off of a standard of morality,
I think that it should
off of
be.
your standard of morality, which is your faith.
I think that it should be illegal. Abortion should be legal because you're killing. You're aborting.
Right, and that's like a sin, right?
Yes.
Did you or did you not agree 10 seconds ago that all sins are equal in the eyes of God?
I guess I did. Yeah.
Okay. So if it shouldn't be illegal to lie, why should it be illegal to get an abortion? See, the obvious answer here is that, well, that's the end of the conversation. Using your faith-based beliefs to operate a criminal justice system is, logically speaking, incoherent. It leads us to a plentiful amount of contradictions. The resolution to this is not for you to reject your faith and become an atheist. Necessarily, a better resolution for you is to embrace your faith, but hold those values to you and not to superimpose them on other people by using it as the foundation in which you believe we should operate our criminal justice system off of. All right? If you're going to tell me that abortion is wrong because of your faith, sure. All right? But if you're going to tell me that abortion should be illegal because of your faith, problematic. So, what is your secular view outside of your faith-based beliefs to justify that abortion should be illegal?
So I don't know. I've seen like videos of abortion and I've looked it up that babies that have been aborted 12 weeks or before, not before, 12 weeks or after can feel the pain of when they're being aborted. So
it's about when you can and can't feel pain. I mean, well, first of all, like the current understanding of neurobiologists is that fetuses gain the ability to perceive pain after they gain the ability to deploy consciousness. And in fact, I know that the current consensus is that fetuses gain the ability to feel pain at around 28 weeks, which is quite late, much later than what my cutoff would be for elective lethal abortions. But further yet, to build on top of that, I don't think that we should use one's ability to feel pain as a standard to determine if it's right or wrong to cause them pain. Like, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's okay to kill and eat chickens?
yeah.
Yeah, do chickens feel pain?
Yes, but that's different because it's an animal.
But I mean, think about it this way. I mean, if you're telling us that abortion is bad at 12 weeks because that's when you believe fetuses gain the ability to feel some pain, who do you think has like a better understanding of their perceptions of pain? A fetus at 12 weeks or a chicken?
Wait, repeat that. Sorry again.
Yeah, who do you think has a better who do you think has higher levels of perceptions insofar as understanding the pain that they're feeling? A fetus at 12 weeks or a chicken? Who do you think could feel more pain?
Probably chicken.
Right. So if you're telling us that it becomes wrong to cause a fetus pain at 12 weeks because it could feel some pain. Well, I mean, like, seemingly, if we were to logically follow this position, because a chicken can feel more pain, it's even more wrong to harm a chicken.
Yes, but I don't know. I feel like chickens, like everybody, people eat chickens. It's an animal, which is different from a human, which is being aborted, and also can
So,
possibly.
but I mean, all that tells us is that the reason why you think it's not okay to get an abortion has nothing to do with the fact that it can or can't feel pain. But then, like, once again, like, the ultimate defeater to your position is that under our current understanding of neurobiology, fetuses cannot feel pain until around 24 through 28 weeks.
What are your thoughts on like fetuses being aborted around that type 24 to?
Yeah, if it's like an elective lethal abortion, I think it's wrong. Good thing I've never heard of anyone ever doing it. Point blank,
All right.
period. I mean, that's about it. Good thing I've never heard about a single person ever getting a late term elective abortion. Have you?
All right. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked it up.
You know, on a real note, I actually have been looking it up for the last 3 years. I've been trying to find a singular circumstance that I've never been able to.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for letting me talk on here. I don't know as much as you do, and this is my first time ever doing this, so
Yeah,
thank
bro,
you for that.
appreciate you for coming up and being seemingly good faith and more respectful than a lot of other people I've talked to today. I hope that you have a good rest of your day, bro, and I hope you continue to listen into the stream.
Yep, you too.
Take care, man. Take care. What's going on, Rivers? Do you support Trump?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm 14, but I've been.
Bye, Rivers. We're gonna move on to the next guest. We got Kinsey loading up. Got to be 18 to be on the live. I'm sorry, Rivers. Oh my God. Yo, Nika, thank you so much for the $35 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Nika. That is so incredibly kind of you. Everybody, please show some love to Nika down below in that chat. Nika says, your debates have been my podcast for the last month. Keep it up. America's proud of you. W's Nick. Thank you so much for the love. As well as Jesse, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo as well. And Morgan with the $5 over on Venmo. Kayla with a 1, and then Olivia with a 5. That is so incredibly kind of you. As well as, oh my God, Sheldon! Thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. I want to see 500 W Sheldons down below in that chat. That is so incredibly kind of you. Sheldon says, keep it up, future president right here. I don't know if I'll make it that far, but I know what I want to do with my future is just to make the biggest impact possible. But that is seriously so incredibly kind of you to say. And thank you so much for the $50. And hey, if there's anybody watching that would like to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal through the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds on those platforms. They all go straight to me. Compared to like what? I get like 30% on TikTok, 30% on YouTube. Venmo and PayPal is definitely the way to go. Plus, you get a notification at the top of my phone screen. I could read it off, give you a shout out, etc. But anyways, what's going on, Kinsey? How we doing?
Hi. Okay. So I actually have a kind of off-topic question for you. I'm from Canada. I want to know if you know anything about the Canadian election going on.
I know very minuscule amount because a couple of the organizers from the Unfuck America tour worked in Canadian politics for a long time. But I don't know enough to have like an educated conversation. But Kinsey,
I was just gonna ask you who do you think would be a better pick? Because Carney, he really has no he was a politician. He'd nothing else. And then Paul Poilievre, he's kind of like a Trump, and I like.
Listen, here's what I will say. Probably the guy that's least like.
I like what he's doing for the working class, but he's kind of doing what he's doing for women, what he's doing for Trump, and I don't like that. But what he's doing for the economy is better.
Okay, well, I think that you probably gotta go find somebody debating Canadian politics.
Where the fuck do I find that? Where do you find that?
I don't know. Not here. Here's what I will say.
Okay,
you
sorry,
said
I'm so
that this
sorry.
guy named Paul or something was
Okay,
more like
okay.
Trump.
Okay.
That probably means you shouldn't vote for him.
That's what I'm thinking. But
There
like,
go.
thank you. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you for popping up,
Of
Kelsey. Have a good rest of your day, guys. We are just looking to have some debates, y'all, though. What's going on, Reagan? Do you support Trump?
Yeah,
Okay, Reagan. Why?
because I think that if we're all gonna die, we might as well die in Trump's hands.
Okay, why?
Because I think that if he's gonna ruin America, it might as well be him.
Okay, well, I don't
Resurrection
think...
Day is coming, and yeah.
I think... Okay, I'm so happy that you're bursting out in laughter. Okay, thank you for being a troll. That was gonna be crazy. Resurrection Day's coming. Jesus is gonna come back, and we're all gonna die, and we need to die in Donald Trump's hands. What an argument! Honestly, very creative troll position. I feel like we've heard it all, and then somebody like Reagan comes along and surprises the hell out of us and shows us that we have not. What's going on, Sophia? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Oh, Sophia. Before I ask you why, I need to ask you your age. How old are you?
I am of age.
Which is?
Whatever age it is to vote.
And that is?
18?
So you think that you're 18? Are you like...
I think so, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So what year are you born in?
Around then.
Get out of the goddamn live. Get out of the goddamn live. Sabrina, thank you so much for the 30 Canadian dollars over on Super Chat. I really appreciate you for the love. Everybody, please show some love to Sabrina down below in the chat. That is so incredibly kind of you. And as well as Onion, thank you for the $10 saying, should I move to Canada yet, or is there still hope left for us? There's going to be help in midterms and presidential elections. Until then, we're fucked. But Jen, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. I appreciate everyone for being so incredibly kind today, y'all. Holy hell, you guys have been so kind. But oh my God, Grace with the $20 on PayPal saying, here you go, dude. Grace, thank you for the $20 donation. That is so incredibly kind. Everybody show some love to Grace. And for Ryan with a 5, Danielle with a 15. Thank you guys so much. And then Cammy with the 25. Thank you guys. Show some love to Cammy, Elena, Grace, and then Ryan with a 5, Danielle with a 15, and Heather with a $20 over on Venmo as well. Thank you, Heather. You are the GOAT. Thank you guys so much for the love. Bailey, what's going on? Do you support Trump? So he waited for me to finish talking, and then he just left. Oh my God, no. All right, moving on to the next guest. Elizabeth, thank you for the $1 of Venmo. Hello, Bree. Do you support Trump?
Oh my God, I just requested. I didn't think I'd actually get in. Wow.
I'm pretty sure
I
that
do
it's
support
organized.
Trump.
I'm pretty sure that it's organized by following count, and because you have 1.1 million followers, it just put you at the top.
Wow, okay, wasn't expecting that. But I do want to say, Dean, I genuinely have so much respect for you. I think you are very, like, you articulate, you use facts, and that's what I can appreciate, because I think America is filled with a lot of hate on both sides. And I really love what you do, because let's take your debate with Charlie Kirk, right? And when I watched that, I had so much respect for you. Whereas when other people go in, they tend to argue with emotion instead of facts, and you're able to keep your composure, right?
It depends.
So
It depends on the debate. Sometimes I can't keep my composure, but I do try, and I do appreciate
I
that.
do
It's
get
very
that, but
kind.
from what I've seen from you, I do think, and I think that's because I love watching both sides. Like, I will watch you sometimes because, but what I don't like is, I think on both sides, like, you see Charlie's videos on TikTok where people come up to the stand and they really are not, educated. And then it's just clips of him destroying these other people that are at a disadvantage, right?
That's kind of his whole thing, because whenever anybody that is educated tries to talk to him, he says, fuck no.
I mean, I can say, but all I'm saying is that I appreciate, what I value is two educated people able to have a discussion that is, fair and not emotional, and just facts, because I want to see other people's sides, and
Okay.
I guess I didn't really come on here to debate you.
Well,
just to like.
I appreciate that, and I could agree. I do think that transparent dialogue between people that disagree, especially people that have spent a long time trying to collect information to justify what they believe in, is really important. But how I would love to debate you. I mean, you did tell us that you
I
support
mean,
Trump. Do you just want to have like more of a
yeah, so
conversation about it? You could tell us your reasons. I could
no,
tell
I
you what
mean,
I think.
I really, I don't want to debate. It's just I did want to come on here and give you props for being able to hold your composure and argue with facts. Whereas you see a lot. Everything I feel like is very emotional nowadays. People lose family over politics, friends over politics. I think that is so detrimental to America because you should not be taking these relationships and I think what's
Here, well, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next guest just because we are looking for debates. But before I do, one last thing I'll say to you is I agree the fact that politics are splitting apart friendships and families is bad. But what I think is bad there isn't the fact that people are willing to end friendships over politics, but more so the fact that politics cause people to end friendships. And that's why I think that we need to take human rights out of politics, agree on a set of basic facts of human decency. So then, American politics could be left up to debating economic policy. And I think that is where I want to see America in the next 8 to 12 years. And that'd be great to see. But hey, man, appreciate you for coming up. We're going to move on to the next guest. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, Bree. If you're MAGA, go ahead and let me know down below in that comment section, and we will get you up here for debate. Let's go to get that next guest up here right now. Also, Sophia, hop out of that queue. You're like 14, please, dear Lord. Mr. Patty Pat, hello. Do you support Trump?
Dean, I love you.
Hey.
But I support Trump.
Oh, Pat, man. No, you had me there in the first half. I was really happy. Okay, all right. Let's have a discussion. Before we do, I got to thank Burgundy for the $10 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Burgundy. As well as JT with a $15 on Venmo as well, saying, saw you on Surrounded. It was fantastic. Dude, thank you, JT. And that's Mr. Sandman in the chat. Very kind. All right, let's talk. Why do you do it? Why do you support Trump?
Mainly because of his foreign policy.
Okay, do you mind if I ask you what time it is right now?
Sorry?
Do you mind if I ask you what time it is right now?
Sure.
So what time is it?
You can ask me?
Yeah, so what time is it right now?
6 p.m.
Really? What state are you in?
Yep. Pennsylvania.
Name 3 cities in Pennsylvania.
This guy. Philadelphia.
Okay, we're cooking.
What the fuck? No?
No, I said like we're cooking. All right.
Dean, listen.
Wow, how did you know it was 6 in Philly?
I guessed, bro.
You guessed right.
Literally, I guessed, yeah.
That's I gotta say, man, that's pretty impressive. Like, if I had to like guess, like the time in like the UK right now, oh my god, I couldn't even start. Hey man, we of course that we're only looking.
Have a good day, bro. Have a good day.
You know what? You as well, bro. Great guess. I gotta say, man, like the education system, just about like the earth is so much better outside of America. Like people outside of America, like they know the basics that a lot of Americans don't, like how many continents there are. But then they also just like know shit. Like, oh my God, it is currently 6 p.m. in the state of Philadelphia, in the country of America, where in the state of Philadelphia, crazy.
No.
In the state of Pennsylvania, where Philadelphia is also a city. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyways, what is up, Al? Do you support Trump?
So I came up here because I want to bring attention to something earlier.
I'm so sorry. We are just looking to debate Trump supporters. We're gonna move on to the next guys. But if it was something important that you want to bring attention to, I guess I'd have no way of knowing if it's important if you don't tell us. So you should.
I love you so much, Dean.
Hey, Stacey, I appreciate you for that love. That's very kind of you. But we are just looking for some debates. But that is very kind of you, Stacey. DM me on Discord, because if it's like something like actually like important that you want to bring attention to, let's do it. All right, we're gonna move on to the next guest, guys. Keep in mind that we are just looking to debate Trump supporters. Go ahead and throw a MAGA down below in the comment section right now. What is up? Do you support Trump?
Okay, wait, before you kick me, I have a very important question. No, wait.
Well, I guess what if she actually did have an important question? You should DM me on Discord too. I'm sorry, we are just looking for like Trump debates right now. Guys. Hello, Wayne. Do you support Trump?
No, I'm sorry.
No worries, Wayne. I think it's because I'm being like really kind to the people today. Do I need to start like being mean? Guess we'll never know. DJ, thank you so much for the $15 over at PayPal saying, Dean, you are awesome. No, DJ, you are awesome. Thank you for the $50. Everybody, please show some love to DJ down below. Once again, if you are watching and you would like to support me and keep the stream running for 4 hours a day, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio, as well as in the pinned message over on the YouTube stream. I get 100% of those proceeds that go straight to me. Nobody takes a dime outside of Uncle Sam once a year when taxes come around. But I really appreciate you guys all so much for the love. What is going on, Jackson? Do you support Trump?
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh man. Why?
Oh wait, what?
Why do you support Trump?
Well, I mean, he's doing good for the country, you know. He with the Ukraine stuff, he's proposed many, many different treaties with the mineral deals. Has he not? And you with
Has any of it worked?
Zelensky.
I like, you know, like the most recent update from Trump on Russia and
Let me
Ukraine.
go to the garage. Let me go to the garage real quick. Continue.
So the most recent update on like Russia and Ukraine that's come from Trump after the last 100 days of his presidency. Keep in mind, he said he could solve it day one. Is as of yesterday, he's literally begging Putin to stop bombing Ukraine.
So how I see that is, as Zelensky, he is.
Wait, we gotta double check here. How old are you?
I'm 14.
Damn, dude. I mean, listen, I'm gonna kick you and move on. But like,
I ain't trying to debate, bro. Scared.
No, you got to be 18 for TikTok. But I'm just
shit,
gonna.
you do. All right, I got you.
Hey man,
That's
before I kick you, I just want you to finish your sentence there real quick about
So
Zelensky and Ukraine.
with Zelensky, he's in a position where he can't take a no. Like, let's say somebody takes your family, right? You have 5 million in your account, right? The ransomist wants 3 million. You're not in a position to say no. I get Putin is definitely not in the right for invading whatsoever. But with the land he's already taken, Zelensky's not in a position to say no to the deals that are being proposed. His people are getting killed daily. Is he not?
Now I gotta kick you because you're 14. Wow. Damn. I wish. I mean, I obviously like the like his beliefs were backwards, but simultaneously, I wish like I had that vocabulary at 14. I wish I was able to like present my thoughts and structure them in such a manner like that at 14. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's like genuinely impressive. I really hope that like, here's what I'll say for that 14-year-old. Dude, please listen into my stream. You're going to be poisoned by whoever the RNC red pillars are in your family that are telling you to believe that. And it's going to stick around because you're going to feel confident in holding to those beliefs because you're pretty fucking smart for your age. But you're wrong. And you should listen to me. Maybe I could convince you why. But guys, go to drop a maggot down below in that chat if you do want me to bring it up here. We're going to go to get that next guest up at the stream, y'all. Wow. All right, guys. What's going on, Melissa? Do you support? And Melissa said goodbye, quite frankly. Everybody's dipping out. Smart, but wrong. Yeah, you know what? I actually want to put this out there. I'm really sick and tired of the narrative. And I'm going to tell you guys why. And I feel like I'm going to lose you at the start of what I'm about to say, but then I'm going to get you back at the end. Just follow along. I don't like the narrative that like every single Trump supporter is dumb. Okay? I hate that narrative so much because what it does is it allows the smart Trump supporters that don't support Trump because they think he's better for the world, but rather support Trump out of either egoism, self-interest, or like genuine prejudice against other people. Like we just forget about them in that process. So I think that we need to remember that there is a lot of people that support Trump that are intelligent, are very intelligent, that support Trump because of their own prejudice, their own biases, or like their own self-interest or lack of care for others. Anyways, what's up, Milan? Do you support Trump?
To be honest, I just wanted to say that Trump sucks because of the tariffs.
Base man. All right, here's what we're going to do, guys. Go ahead and drop a MAGA down below in that comment section right now if you want to be invited up onto the stream. We are only looking to debate people that are at least 18 years old from America and do support the president. And we're having a little bit of a hard time finding them right now.
What do I say?
child with other people in the room. It's proven to be very difficult to find some Trump supporters for us right now, which is crazy considering the fact that we have like so many people in here. We're gonna move on to the next guest right now. What is this guy's bio, bruh? No
What's
way.
up, man?
What's going on, Mark? How we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Out of curiosity, it says in your bio.
I just want to know why you think Trump is terrible for America when you have people who are even on your side literally proving you wrong every day.
Mark, I got you. I'll answer your question. I just like want to double check because I'm like looking at your bio. It says CHS 97. Why do you have like the year you graduated high school from in your bio?
A lot of people do.
Okay. Go ahead and ask your question.
Why do you think that Trump is terrible for America when you even have people on your own side that are proving you wrong every day?
Like liberals come up here and prove me wrong? I don't really think that
I've seen liberals on the internet talk about, well, Trump, we need people who are doing something different. And Trump's that guy who came in here and he's making deals and offers, and the other countries might not like it, but they have to toughen up and deal with what Trump is offering them. They got to deal with what Trump's giving them. Right now,
hey, man.
He's giving them something that's going to make us better.
Can you give me like the handle of one liberal that has ever said this, like publicly?
Look up all the Democrats and the economists. All the economists were on your side at first because they were just probably getting paid out under the table to say random propaganda bullshit. And now they're the ones coming out and saying, "Oh, well, Trump's plan is actually going to make us rich."
Actually, Trump's plan is going to make the rich people richer. Sure. But actually, financial institutions that do fiduciary work for their clients, here's the deal. The chairman of the Fed is saying that America is heading towards a recession, that America might even potentially experience stagflation. Atlanta Fed says the same thing. GDP Now from the Atlanta Fed says the same thing. JP Morgan is officially projecting a recession this year. Goldman Sachs is officially projecting a recession this year. All reputable and credible institutions of finance do indeed project that Donald Trump's policy for the economy is terrible and will send us into negative GDP growth for over 2 financial quarters. So your claim that the economists are defending Trump is unilaterally false.
So how come all them economists that you say are saying that are probably, or you can look them up, they're all Democrats. They've already been Democrats.
Dude, the chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, was originally appointed by Trump. Why would Trump appoint a flaming liberal?
Who?
Jerome Powell. Mark. Jerome Powell.
What does he do?
He's the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
And what's so bad about him?
What's so bad about him? I never said there was anything bad with Jerome Powell.
Well, why did you bring him up in the first place?
Because he is Mr. Moneyman, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and he says that Donald Trump's tariffs are going to slow GDP growth.
Okay, so let me tell you this. You think it could slow it down for a little bit, but when people have good things happen, you have to go through a little pain to feel.
No, that's not true.
So how come you
don't have to feel pain to do good?
LeBron, Kobe, Michael Jordan, LeBron, they all say it too. When you win a championship, you become the greatest player of all time. It takes hard times and work to get there.
Oh, so you're like equating like going to the gym and having your muscles tear to build your biceps into being bigger to experiencing a recession?
We're not experiencing no recession. Where'd you get that from, out of your asshole?
No.
You getting paid to process propaganda all day long?
Did you just say I'm getting paid to
You're getting paid money to process propaganda.
Say that 3 times fast.
No.
Say it 3 times fast.
How about you just actually hold a real conversation?
Say it 3 times fast. Paid money to process propaganda. Come on.
You do it. I'm not the one over here begging and crying for money.
Dude, Mark, unironically, I've been talking to you this whole time about how much of a shithole you are. When have I begged or cried for money?
Oh, because I'm a shithole. You don't even know my morals.
I know that you have the year you graduated from high school in your bio. What, did you play football too? You go back to
I played football there for the varsity side, little guy.
Do you go back to one of their games every once in a while?
I live in the same area. Why wouldn't I?
Dude! Mark?
I know the coaches love me. I love the coaches.
thinking back on like your time in high school, would a fair valuation be to say that was the best time of your life?
No, I love my life right now. I have a beautiful woman and a kid who just came out
A kid who just came out?
just a few weeks
What a
ago.
really crude way to talk about childbirth. I have a kid that
What?
just came out.
He did just come out a few weeks ago, buddy.
That's such a crude remark. No,
My bad. My beautiful, amazing woman just gave childbirth a few months ago.
my beautiful, amazing woman just
A
gave
few weeks
childbirth.
ago.
Okay.
It's almost been a month now. He's almost a month old.
Really? How is it being a father?
It was good. It's so stressful.
Very stressful.
Well, you haven't yet proven me one time how Trump is terrible for America.
I haven't yet proven you. So the correct grammatical structure that
I don't
sentence.
care what it is, buddy. You're going to answer my darn question.
Okay. I'll answer your question. Okay, no, I'll answer your question, but before we do, I gotta thank Erica for the $2 super chat over on YouTube saying more propaganda, please. Tabby with a future encounter. Mello with the 100 SEK over on YouTube super chat. Thank you so much. Can you thank Mello and Erica real quick?
No.
Please?
I'm not going to thank them little Democrat grifters on here sending you money from the DNC.
Wait, how the fuck so the people that donate to me are quote unquote Democrat grifters that send me money from the DNC?
You get sent money from the DNC. Those aren't even real people giving you money.
What?
Those are people who work in the Democratic Party now, who they are getting on separate accounts trying to send you money.
Wait. So like for instance,
you read it off.
So like 41 seconds ago, I got a donation from Stephanie for $30. Okay, Stephanie L. I won't read out the last name, but it's a picture of like a millennial woman.
You know what? You know how you go on Facebook and TikTok and there's all them bots. They got pictures.
Okay,
It's not hard to
but
create a
like for
fake
instance,
AI account.
I just clicked on like Stephanie's Venmo account and I'm like in her public transactions and it looks like she's been paying.
Why
a
are
lot
you
of
creeping
other,
on? Even if they were
paying a
real,
lot of
why
other
would you be
accounts.
creeping on random people like that?
Well, apparently, according to you, it's not a random person; it's a robot. So
It
what's
could
the
be.
issue?
It's you don't even know.
I think I do know. I think
And we know your whole little scheme.
I think
we all know.
I think assuming the people that donate to me are like robots is the same level of skepticism. Like assuming the people that you just interact with on a daily basis is just very advanced AI.
No, well, we know who you truly are, buddy. And once we get you exposed, we're all gonna.
What am I gonna get exposed for, bud?
You're gonna get exposed.
Maze, thank you for the $15 over everybody. Shut up. Thank you for the Maze. Maze, thank you for the $15 donation over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Maze, as well. Celia with the $5 over on Venmo. Blake with the $2 over on Venmo. Kirsten with the $20 donation over on Venmo from the DNC. Now, my real life job. I appreciate you for the love, Kirsten. And Blair with the $10 over on Venmo. And Misty with the 5 as well. Thank you so much, Blair and Misty. You guys are so incredibly awesome. And thank you so much for the love and the donations. Everybody, please show some love to the donors. That's so incredibly kind, guys. Thank you so much, as well as Kristen with the $20 super chat over on YouTube. Saying beep boop bot. That is right. Thank you so much for the love, Kristen, alongside Mello and Madish. I appreciate you both for the $5. That is so incredibly kind. And Sid with the $20 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Sid. I mean, sorry, not Venmo, YouTube super chat. You were the best, Sid. Thank you so much. Luca with the $3 over on PayPal. And oh my God, Blair with the $10 on Venmo. Nicholas with the $5 on Venmo. And Jesse with the $30 donation on Venmo from Donald J. Trump. Thank you for the love, Jesse. And
Donald
Jody
Trump
with the
ain't giving you no
$3.
money.
Well,
Donald Trump ain't never gonna give you no money.
according to the donation. Oh,
Do you know who
so
Leon
Trump
is?
isn't going to give us
He's
money,
one
so I
of
just want to
the guys that's been
clarify.
doing-
So
He's got the video.
Wait, so you just said that Donald Trump's never going to give me money. So in other words, Donald Trump's never going to cut taxes for the average American?
No, he'll cut your taxes if you want.
But doesn't that give me money?
Doesn't mean that you can't be a horrible person, still go through life just like normal, like you are.
I think I'm a significantly better person.
Do you believe in Jesus?
Do I believe in Jesus? I was raised Catholic. I'm still sympathetic to a lot of Christian values, but no, I'm not a Christian.
You think Trump and Jesus talk?
Mark, what kind of question is that?
You don't think Trump ever you think that if Jesus was a person, he would do bad things? Do you think Jesus would do bad things?
No, like the whole.
So how would Trump, if Trump has been the one talking to Jesus and Jesus has been telling him the plan?
Wait, you think that Jesus has been talking to Trump and telling him what to do?
Well, he's been praying to him, ain't he?
Well,
And
actually,
Jesus has been responding to his prayers
So
and
I'm-
telling him, Trump, I know what you've been doing, and this is what we're going to do together.
oh, so you think everything Trump's done, he's just done it with Jesus? So like he
Not
like,
everything.
so
Not
he, like,
everything.
So he
but
like
sometimes
so he
Jesus will
so I
tell
just want to
him if
clarify,
he's doing
Mark.
right or wrong.
So he graped E. Jean Carroll with Jesus.
Nope.
So
That didn't happen.
Oh, so Jesus wasn't there for that?
Jesus, he doesn't. Jesus will come down and tell him, "Hey, you're not doing this right. You need to do this," because he knows he sees a lot of himself in Donald Trump.
Oh, wow. How do you? Okay, where's this lore coming from? Like, dude, like go tell it to Wattpad. But why are you acting as if this is like a true coherent version of reality? Like, you like guess.
You don't
like,
think so?
Mark, on a scale of 1 to 10, guess how like hard it is for me right now to hold back laughing in your face.
Laughing for what, buddy?
Like laughing at you because
Telling you that Trump is the one who prayed to Jesus and said, "Dear Jesus."
So do you think that like Trump is like a prophet of God? Because like actually the
I
definition
think
from the
God
Bible
knows who Trump is, and God might have put him here.
Well, no, like the
purposely.
definition of like a prophet from the Bible is just somebody like in conversation with God to execute upon their commandment. And like seemingly you're saying that's what Trump does. So like, and according with the definition of what a prophet is from the Bible, Trump is a prophet.
Well, I don't know. I saw something online, and I saw another one of your guests come up here, and he was saying the same thing.
So,
and I kind of believe what he said there.
Oh, okay. I think was that a really long time ago?
It was a really long time ago.
It was that guy that told me that Donald Trump and Jesus had sent letters between one another, and then when I asked for the evidence, he told me to look it up on Google.
I don't know I don't know what did that.
No, where can I find evidence that Donald Trump has talked to Jesus?
It's somewhere on a subreddit. You can find it on something. There's proof, and they list the data.
Did you just say that I could find a subreddit that lists the data to show Jesus and Trump
look
talk?
It up. Look it up right now.
On Reddit?
Look it up right now, buddy.
What do I look up?
Look up, did Donald Trump speak to Jesus?
You know what I think you should look up?
Huh?
5150.
What's that mean?
Look it up.
No, you do it.
No, you look it up, Mark.
Why?
So you can figure out what it is.
5150.
Yeah.
Look it up right now.
Yeah.
Why? What does that mean?
Look it up on Google, Mark.
Right now?
Google will tell you, Mark.
5110.
No, 5150. Where, dude?
5151.
No, just 5150. Look it up on
Okay, hold on.
Google. Okay, while he's looking that up on Google, I do have a couple people to thank. I'd like to thank Mr. Lamb for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Saying, quite frankly, what is this guest do? They're crazy. Thank you for the love, Mr. Lamb. As well as Danny with a 10, Kenny with a 5, Hello
hell
World
does that
with a 5.
even mean?
That means, don't worry about it. Sam with a $5 on YouTube Super Chat. Gradients with a $5. Can you thank Sam and Gradients?
Huh?
Oh my God, Liz with the $5 on Venmo from Jesus. Oh my God, you hear that?
You need to pull that big old liberal bullshit.
Ashley, thank you so
much.
much for liberal stick out of my behind. Wow, you have quite the imagination, Mark. I'm never thought about that ever before, but
You're
have.
just a gross little guy.
You're thinking about a liberal stick in my rear end.
Liberal stick full of propaganda shoved so far up your ass it's poking out your damn eyeballs. You can't see straight.
So, and who's the gross one in this scenario, Mark? Because that was pretty graphic.
You're the one who's got it all the way up there, and you must seem to enjoy it.
Mark. Okay, it's time. Mark, okay, listen. I know who you are. The bit's up. The bit's up, Mark. Whoop, cat's out of the bag. I remember you about halfway through when you started talking about Trump and Jesus.
About what?
When are you going to give up the bit? You've been running this bit for over a year now.
No, I haven't. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you have. We've had this discussion before. Yeah. You used to come up here all the time and you used to say, Trump talked to Jesus. They sent letters back and
Never
forth.
said
You
that
want
once.
evidence? How
I never
about
said
you
that
look
once.
it up on Google?
I never said that once.
Yes, you
and
did. Yes, you did. And then I followed you on one of your accounts because I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you could be pretty fucking funny. You're a pretty funny troll. Okay. Then I want to message you
Oh.
about like, you know, just having like a really lighthearted bit for comedy because you're just completely satire. And you know what? You messaged me back.
I don't remember nothing because I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, we all remember you, Chris Webb.
What'd I message you, buddy?
I don't know, but you just kept up the bit even in DMs. This guy's never dropped his guard, not once. This guy's been keeping the same bit running, rather it's publicly or privately, for over a year.
That doesn't even make sense.
What if he's just not fucking trolling and this is just really how he feels?
You think I'm a troll because of what? Because I come up here and tell you things that you can't.
Because you told me to go to Reddit to find evidence that Donald Trump talks
There's
to
literal
Jesus.
posts and links in there that you can click to other websites that show you the proof.
So then why don't you show me it right now?
I told you where to go, and you won't. You won't figure it out for
You
yourself.
literally just
you're
said
being a dickhead.
subreddit. Okay, I think that there's over, like, what is it? 50 million of
Look
those?
up Trump Jesus subreddit.
That's too vague too.
Mhm.
Brenna, thank you for the $5 on PayPal saying that Jesus talked to you, told me to send you that. Let's go, Brenna.
You clearly
As well
need
as
to get your
Maze,
morals
thank you so
straight.
much
I
for the
hope
$10 over on Venmo. Ashley, thank you for the 20. And
Get them
Liz,
demons
thank
out
you for
of
the
your
5.
head.
And then
Straight.
Ashlyn, thank you for the 15, saying definitely a bot. Jessica and Emily with a 5 each. Kenya with a 10. Jessica with a 5, saying Slay King. Tammy with a 10. Thank you so much, Tammy. Jason with a 5. Nicholas with a 5. Thank you, everyone, so much for all of the love over on Venmo. Quite frankly, that's the truth. As well as Patricia, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Allison with a 20 said, guess I'm the DNC. That's right. Mark, thank you so much for the 30. Say, keep kicking ass. I'll never stop, guys. Thank you so much for the love, everyone. Oh my God. Okay, Mr.
You're just a gross little guy, gross little devious guy, and I'm gonna have to pray for you later tonight.
Why do you think I'm gross? Oh, he left. He's gonna pray for me later tonight. Oh man, thank you for the galaxy. All right, I guess we're gonna move on to the next guest. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know if that guy's trolling or not. He's just been keeping up the bit for so long. Oh my God, Grace! Thank you for the $50 donation over on Venmo. Holy shit, Grace, dude, Grace, that's insane. I want to see 500 W Graces down below in the comment section. For the $50, Grace says, DNC forced me to send this to you. Love you, dude. I love you too, Grace. Thank you so much for the $50. That's crazy. What's going on, Nolan? Do you support Trump?
I did not mean to join.
No worries, Nolan. I got you. And then also Sid. Sid with the $30 donation over on, let's see here while we're getting the next guest up in here. Over on Venmo saying, gross little devious guy fund. Yeah, I need to change my bio. Gross little devious guy. All right, new bio, y'all. But thank you for the love, Sid. Guys, go to Drop a Maggot down below in that comment section if you do want to come up and debate. Y'all already know. By the way, everyone in here should follow my Instagram. We are like on the path to 1 million followers. What's going on, Justin? Do you support Trump?
What's up, Dean? How you doing today? I do.
Are you driving?
I am home.
I'm sorry, Justin. You can't be driving while you're on TikTok Live, so we are going to move on to the next guest. By the way, for everyone watching, we just got another warning on the live, so it's possible that this live is going to get taken down soon. If it does, just head over to YouTube. What's going on, Vanity? Do you support Trump?
No, I just want to say, Dean, you're amazing. My girlfriend loves you. Yeah, that's
Hey,
it.
dude. Hey, man, I appreciate you so much for coming up here and showing some love, dude. Vanity, Vanity's girlfriend. Typically, when I see accounts like that, like, oh, their name is Vanity, and their profile picture, it's like expensive shoes and watches on the internet, that leads me to like the conclusion that it's like likely somebody that's like in like the internet finance bro space that just loves Trump. But that guy was chill as hell, so I appreciate that. W's to you and to your girlfriend. W's to you both. What's up, Ben? Do you support Trump?
Hey Dean, so I actually up until recently I did. Up until recently.
Oh, wow.
I'm from Palm Beach Island originally. That's where my family's from and stuff. I got important connects. But I just have a question for you if you'd be willing to answer.
Yeah, but if you ask me a question, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet, ask away, man.
All right. So my father, he was a Marine for 23 years, intelligence officer. Always told me Trump's in with the Russians. Don't vote for him. But I was just mad. My mom, for some reason, didn't want to admit it. So I voted for him this election. Completely regret it. Completely regret it. So what do you say? What should we do to move forward? Because what about the next president? Because he's just going to do what Trump does, but smarter and better, and we're fucked.
Well, I think that the way that we move forward is with a Democrat populace. So like in the Democratic Party, there's kind of a split between the people in the institution and then more populist candidates like AOC and Bernie against,
Hmm.
like super PACs with that don't have to report where they're spending their money, and they're a little bit more modern in the sense that they fight for working class Americans and they're
I
really about
agree.
and they're truly about the people.
I'm
And
from Vermont, big Bernie fan here. So,
yeah, exactly. And I
you
really
know,
I really do think that like Democrat populace is probably going to be like the future of not only the Democrat Party, but like hopefully our country, man. And I think the way that we get there is by first deconstructing a lot of the beliefs that people hold in our country about the right. And once we could kind of get people to start rejecting MAGA, rejecting Trump, and recognizing that, him as well as the people he surrounds himself with are genuinely harmful and detrimental to this country and the
I
people
agree.
in it.
I completely agree.
That's when we could kind of
Hmm.
start having the conversations about how we want to shape the Democrat Party. And I do think that that is an important second step as well, because like the Democrat Party is by no means perfect, especially the more institutional Democrats. So I think like having that conversation either alongside or once we could convince people that, they shouldn't support Trump is probably the best way to produce the best possible outcome for the future of this country.
All right. And I'm seeing like all these comments. They're saying like, you already did your damage. You can't do anything to fix it. Well, like in that case, like I feel like you can't really say that to people who are trying to like switch their views, switch their stances, because you're just gonna drive them away and cause them to support more Trump. You know what I'm saying?
I
I
think
like
that
to keep an open mind.
I think that two things can be true at once. I think that you did
I agree.
already
I did
throw your vote.
damage. I did do damage.
You
I
did
agree. I
you
know.
did do damage. You did throw your vote for Trump, but like the best possible way to respond and move forward is exactly what you're doing, and I think we can all appreciate that.
Do you know anything? I mean, it sounds like you're ready to move on to the next person, but do you know anything I can do personally to stop this? Like what I can do to try and help?
I think that I read a quote earlier today. It was from Winston Churchill. Now I don't think I would be able to quote it precisely or perfectly, but it was something along the lines of do what you can do inside of your means where you're at. And
Yeah.
essentially what that means is that everybody, every single American has some level of influence and some level of control over the future of this country. And for most people, what that looks like is joining local movements, going to local protests, and having conversations with people in your life that disagree with you and I, disagree with the premise of this life. And I feel
Hmm.
like that is going to be the very best thing that you and everybody else in the stream can do right now. But
Hmm.
simultaneously, who knows what that could
Yeah.
lead to for you or anybody else in here? Because at one point that was me too. Me doing my best was having conversations with my friends that were Trump supporters and going on a live stream to talk to like 30 people about why I support progressive movements. And, like now I have a scheduled debate with Charlie Kirk. I was in the White House in December and
Actually, you got your debate
like,
with Kirk.
yeah, he finally agreed.
Yeah.
We're going to have it later
Thank
this month.
God. Thank God.
So,
I was hoping to see that.
yeah, it's going to be exciting. But I guess, just really take away from that original statement, do what you can do inside of your means where you're at. It's like, whatever situation you're in, just try to make the most out of it. I feel
Mhm.
like likely for you as an individual that, voted for Trump as recently as 2024. Like, although like I very heavily disagree with that and I think that causes damage, this does specially position you because you're more like Trump supporters in America today than me or like any other liberal that's voted against him 3 times,
I
right?
try to I wanted to download Truth Social. I did that to like try and tell, like, say why I don't support Trump anymore, right? I gave them my reasons. You can't debate them. They're just immediately, it's attack, it's attack, it's attack, it's attack, it's attack. You can't, you know what I'm saying? I tried to go on Truth. That I get worried. I just
Yeah,
get real
the first
worried.
thing is to not go on Truth Social.
Yeah, no, I
That's-
learned that. I deleted that. I was like, no way. I'm like, I voted for Trump, but now I regret it. And they're like, kill yourself. You hate Trump. Horrible human. I'm like,
Sorry,
yeah.
Ben. I have to kick you from the live because that will get the live restricted and taken down. I really wish that you could have open and free conversations on TikTok. Like, I think the fact that I had to kick you for that is crazy. And it honestly makes me really sad because I was enjoying the conversation I was having with you. But yeah, Ben, I mean, I think the best thing that you could do is join local movements, attend protests. And I bet, you know, because you voted for Trump in 2024, that there's probably a lot of people in your life that you really care about and really care about you that still support Trump today. And you hold a special privilege as it relates to conversations with them. And they're probably going to be more willing to hear it from you than to hear it from me or, you know, any other radical dim. So, you know, use that to your advantage. But we're going to move on to the next guest, and I really wish there's more people like Ben in this world. What's going on, No Fun? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
All right, why is that, man?
Because of his policies.
Like which ones?
I'm just kidding. Fuck Trump. I voted Kamala.
Based, man. Moving on to the next guest. Here we are, everyone. Let's go and get Molly up in the box, man. I'm so sad that we had to kick Ben there. I'll TikTok, bro. By the way, Ben, if you're still listening, that wasn't your fault. You didn't say anything wrong. Just TikTok has terrible terms of service. Yo, Erica, thank you for the $50 donation over on Venmo. Say just another Democrat grifter. Yeah, we just got the restriction from Ben right there, but it didn't apply because I kicked him. Erica says just another Democrat grifter sending money from the DNC. Let's go, bro. The DNC is well funding me today. Thank you so much for the love, Erica. That is literally so kind of you. Everybody, please show some love to Erica down below in that chat, as well as to Steve for the $10 on Venmo, Amy with a 1, and then Lex with a 5. What's going on, Molly? Do you support Trump?
No, he's a racist.
Do you say he's not racist?
He's a racist, bro.
Oh, he is a racist.
And he
Base fetuses. I think they're likely fetuses. Base fetuses. Moving on to the Book of Tank. Here we go, everyone. Give us a minute. Give us a minute while we get that next guest loaded up here. If you're one of the 6.6 thousand people listening in, and you'd like to come up here and debate, go ahead and drop a maggot down below in that chat. What's up, Book? You support Trump?
I support some of his policies. I don't support his necessary immigration policy, but I do support like.
Overall, do you think he makes a better president than Kamala Harris would have?
I mean, between the both of them, it was a hard choice because she wouldn't have really stood up for our trade war stances of protecting all the money we've lost to China.
Money we've lost to China. So, do you think a trade deficit means we are losing money?
Yes, we have lost so much money to China.
Hey, I have a question. Would you have, okay. So, no, that's not what a trade deficit is. So what do you think a trade deficit is? Can you define that?
Like what you owe for trade?
No, right? Thank you so much for being honest and like defining trade deficit in the way in which you thought it was. So a trade deficit doesn't like denote an amount of money that you owe for anything. It's literally just a tool that accountants use to kind of dictate how much product somebody or someone is buying from us compared to how much we're buying from them, right? And then like the negation of the two would be the trade deficit. Like for instance, you know, let's just assume that last month you spent $500 on groceries from your local grocery store. Did your local grocery store spend any money buying things from you?
No.
No, so that means that you're in a $500 trade deficit with your grocery store. Is that a bad thing?
No, because it's normalized to go get stuff from a grocery store.
Right. So it's like trade deficits don't denote any debt that you owe. It's just a simple calculation of how much you bought from somebody and how much they bought with you. And trade deficits aren't necessarily a bad thing. There you go.
I'm just talking about like all the cheap stuff we buy from them, like that we don't need. Not necessarily food or something like that, but.
Okay. So you want to like stop the ability for people to like buy cheap stuff from China. Why?
Because they're like cheap goods aren't good quality at all. Like we can buy
lower quality.
and it'll be better quality. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, like, so like typically, here's the thing. I agree that it's good to have a marketplace in which would have higher quality goods for sale, right? That's that's an opportunity where you could either buy from a higher end foreign producer or a domestic producer. However, I do believe that it is important to have like some low cost goods on the market that aren't of the same quality, because the trade off there is of course the price, and like lower prices are the only prices attainable to a lot of Americans. Does that make sense? I mean, like, yeah, like I think it's a good thing to have higher quality goods in a market, but I think it's also a good thing to have lower quality yet functional goods in the market.
Yeah, it makes it's just like some of the stuff, you know, like the little like cheap electrical stuff. Like I feel like, I mean, I guess it's good, but like also I don't feel like we need necessarily those certain things because.
So is your argument essentially own nothing and be happy? Like you're saying that we don't need these goods from other countries, so who cares if they're more expensive or unattainable? Own nothing and be happy?
Like depending on what technology it is, like if it's like other stuff countries sell and it's only going to be like $10 more from a different country, but I say we buy that one. Just also a global super.
Okay, so I just, in a nutshell, you're basically saying that we should just buy the more expensive products. Why?
Because we should try to help like strengthen the U.S. also, but like try to stop.
Well, I mean, like so you want to strengthen the U.S., but the blanket tariffs have done the opposite. They have decreased foreign investment into the markets, and they've decreased our own, domestic market confidence, and they've sent us barreling towards a recession, and like slowed and even negative GDP growth does not strengthen the American economy. In fact, they do the inverse; they weaken it.
So, but like his main goal is paying off our debt.
His main goal is paying off our debt, so he is going to add more to the debt than Kamala Harris would have. So he's worse for government expenditure.
He hasn't added any yet.
So during his first term, he added over $8 trillion, which was twice as much as what Biden and Harris added in their first 4 years. And then all of his projected policy this term was estimated by the CBO to cost like an additional $10 trillion compared to Kamala Harris's. So that's not true.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah, anything else you want to go over, man?
No, that's about all I got, really. But
okay, have a good rest of your day, man. Honestly, I'm feeling kind of chill. I'm feeling kind of chill right now. I'm feeling kind of chill. Do I need to like be more energetic so I could be more entertaining? I don't know. I'm feeling just kind of, I'm chilling right now. You know what I mean, you guys? I'm in a good mood. And Emily, thank you for the $20 donation on Super Chat saying, hi, Dean. I was one of the people who wrote you a message in the book Sid gave you. I can't donate much, but I just wanted to show you love. I love you so much, bro, Emily. Dude, that was so special. I gotta tell y'all about this while I'm getting next guest up here. So Sid, a very active member of the community, flew out for the first stop of the Unfuck America tour in Texas, and she gave me a book. It had a couple pages in it, and it was just messages written by other community members. And I essentially read it all last night before I went to bed. And I just wanted to thank every single person who had submitted, statements to Sid to put in that book. And in fact, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people in that book that I recognize, and I'm going to try to do some personal thank yous over the course of the next day or two. It's just so incredibly special. What's going on, King? Do you support Trump?
Not anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. I am a truck driver. I drive coast to coast. And I can tell you that what he has done is going to hurt the United States so tremendously. And all these Trump supporters have no clue what's getting ready to happen. The spot market's down, everything's down, things aren't moving. If things are not coming into the country, they're not going into the stores. So I hope that all these Trumpsters appreciate the fact that all their goods that they're buying from Temu in China, they're disappearing and they're not coming back. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, what Trump has done has just sunk America. And I hope to God that young adults like you can bring us back to where we need to be. I was a Republican for 25 years and I switched because I knew what Trump was doing. Okay, I knew what he was doing. I knew what he was all about. You can't pull the wool over someone my age, over my eyes at this age. But I saw what was happening. I voted blue for the first time in 25 years. So good luck to you, young man. I mean, I think you're doing us a great service. I just wanted to say how proud I am of you. Keep up the good work. We need you. We desperately need you and your crowd and your supporters, and you're much appreciated. That's coming from a truck driver. And you're not going to find very many blue truck drivers out there, but I'm one of them, and I'm proud of it.
Keep spreading the word. See,
Absolutely.
I like 9 out of 10 times I have a liberal come up here. I kind of just cut them off, but I specifically let you continue to speak because you said you were a truck driver. So many, like, America needs to understand that truck drivers, out of like any individual in like given labor forces, probably have one of the better ideas of how the American economy is doing, right?
It's
because
been
the American
happening.
economy is reliant on you, right? So hey,
We see the future.
Yeah, I really appreciate you so much for coming up, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank
up
you,
and,
you too.
And say some words. Have a good rest of your day, Kathy. What is going on, Luce? Do you support Trump?
Hi, Dean.
Hi, Luce.
I'm 15 years old.
I'm sorry, I gotta kick you. You are underage. We are gonna move on to the next guest. Everyone, go ahead and just give us a minute. Guys, please do keep in mind that we are just going to start looking for some debate. So if you are MAGA, let me know in that chat. But we are just looking to debate Trump supporters. Hi, please tell me that you're a Trump supporter, Pinky.
I am a Trump supporter.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go ahead and have a debate. But before we do, quite frankly, I got to thank a couple people. Lacey, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Beckett, thank you for the 5. Jacob with a 2. Benjamin with a 3. Amy with a 1. Pinky, please don't leave. Come back. Please don't leave. And then also Shelby with the $25 donation over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Shelby. Everybody, please show some love to Shelby. And Aaron with the 43. Dude, thank you, Aaron and Shelby. Show some love to Aaron and Shelby down below, literally right now. Pinky, please come back. If you could hear me, come back into the TikTok app because we can't hear you. Oh, you're back. Wow.
I'm here.
I thought you were going to leave. Okay, tell us. Why do you support Trump, Pinky?
Well, first, I don't know if everyone remembers, he delayed TikTok. So we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Trump, actually, at the moment. So I think that's my strongest kind of reason. I feel like if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be discussing any of this. So, like, he's definitely watching out for...
So let's assume that view is true, that he saved TikTok. I would rather have the 60 great victims per day that are currently denied access to abortion because of Trump have access to abortion than me have access to TikTok.
Why so?
Why so? Because I value human rights over social media.
So isn't it a human right to like be responsible for their body and for the future of the country? Like, I feel like a lot of us are not being too responsible.
Pinky, I'm really hoping that you just didn't hear what I said. I said great victims.
Wait, what? What did you say?
I said great victims.
I can't actually hear what you're saying.
Grape. Just take the G off.
Grape.
Just take the G off in your mind. I have to say that for TikTok terms of service.
Sorry. Oh, okay. My bad. I'm sorry. Grape. Yes.
So yeah, I said I value human rights over social media, and because of Trump's 60 great victims per day are being denied access to abortion, if Kamala Harris was elected, she would have codified the same protections offered under Roe v. Wade on the federal level, meaning they would regain their access to abortion. And I would rather them regain their access to abortion than me regaining access to TikTok.
Do you know the statistics of the grapes, like where they're coming from as far as
men?
Right, and from what countries and from what status, which is something that he's cleaning up, don't you think?
Oh, Pinky. Oh, yeah. Let me get this one straight. You're telling us that all the rapists are from other countries, right?
No, I'm just giving.
You're telling us that those damn undocumented migrants are very violent, right?
They definitely have that reputation, I would say.
Yeah. Hey, Pinky, guess what?
Tell me.
Are you a natural U.S. born citizen?
I am.
Statistically speaking, you and I and all the other natural U.S. born citizens watching this live right now are 2 times more likely to commit violent crimes such as rape compared to undocumented migrants. PNAS has been tracking crime rates since the 19th century. And we've seen this consistent pattern where undocumented migrants commit significantly less crimes than natural U.S. born citizens. So why are you perpetuating harmful stereotypes that only aid and abet in the dehumanization of humans and which are completely false?
I agree with what you're saying as far as your actual facts. But with that being said, are you just disregarding that they're also, we have illegal aliens that are causing a lot of harm and violence in our country? And I feel like that might not be the highest percentage.
You don't care about harm and violence. You don't.
I actually really do care about harm and violence.
You voted for a rapist.
I didn't vote, to be honest.
You support a rapist. Hey, if somebody was held civilly liable for rape, do you think they should be allowed to immigrate into America?
No.
So then why should they be able to become president?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good point. Now, what is going to happen? What do you think is really going to be happening? I have both sides. I could agree and disagree with different things. But as far as just opening up, like if it's a smoke shop in every corner and start opening up
be careful to restrict
clinics,
what you say.
Right. Clinics, I think that could just sort of create like a culture that's not going to be as serious as, years ago. I think that, there was less grapes and less mistakes happening. Like, I just feel like, where is this coming from? Where are these grapes? Why are they happening? Is it more
because of upholding the patriarchy, perpetuating grape culture, and undermining what I would consider to be an adequate level of care for grape victims and the prevention of more grapists by further condemning bad actors who do grape, right? And like supporting President Trump is only furthering grape culture in the sense that typically when people do bad things, we punish them, and that prevents them from doing more bad things moving forward. I mean, that is the whole point of the criminal justice system. That's why you get a speeding ticket for $100 when you go 5 miles per hour over the posted speed limit, right? So if we allot consequences to bad people that do bad things, if we stigmatize them, if we limit their opportunity, that's going to, A, reduce the amount of men that grape women, and B, prevent further victim blaming. But what we don't do is we don't reward them. And what did society decide to do with Donald Trump, who's raped a woman? They decided to award him, you included, with the highest ranking position of power available to any human anywhere on Earth. And what do you think that's going to do when we start rewarding bad actors who do bad things? Are more men going to feel more emboldened to go out there and rape women because they know at the end of the day, even if they're convicted in a court of law, nobody will care and they'll still blame the victim? Or is that going to promote a society in which truly demonstrates care for victims and condemns rapists?
I think it could be a little bit of both, because
I don't think so.
I think society has like a different view. Every single person has a different view. So it really just depends on the situation. I mean,
out of curiosity, you just said it could be a little bit of both. How could voting a rapist into the most powerful ranking position of power available to any human condemn rapists?
Because when you look at a human being, if you're going to start judging every single person, there'd be no way for us to have a systematic like economic balance. Because if we're going to start pinpointing, not that that is correct, it is 100% wrong, but like this is the thing, everything has like an imbalance right now going on in the world. So how are we going to make this more balanced?
Are you saying that saying Grapists shouldn't have the opportunity to be president is perpetuating purity culture?
No, what I'm saying is that the only trait that you're focusing on? Because that would be kind of what I'm saying.
Listen, man. I get it. I listen. I get it.
But remember,
if,
we're
like,
debating
listen,
what
just
you brought up.
listen to me here. I get it if you're like, oh, like we shouldn't cancel people if they've made themselves better as a person and they're actively anti-racist, but maybe they slurred when they were younger. Of course, we need to recognize that's wrong, but you know, we shouldn't cancel them today if they've put the work and the effort in. But I don't get it when you're like, oh, we shouldn't cancel a rapist who wants his victim to be imprisoned.
I definitely think if there's rapists, they should be imprisoned. That's not what I'm saying.
So you think Donald Trump should be president from jail?
I mean, do you want to know all the other rapists that are running the entire country? I mean, Kamala.
Yeah,
I mean,
so there's more than one rapist. I
There's
don't think that
definitely-
changes that grape is wrong. Hey, I'm gonna look at the first American who was a slave owner the same way I'm gonna look at the last American who was a slave owner. I don't care how many came before you or how many will come after you. It's wrong, point blank, period. So if there is rapists in other very powerful positions in our government, this doesn't imply that therefore we shouldn't care that Donald Trump's a rapist and let him walk scotch-free. This just implies that we should care more about the other people that are rapists and make sure they don't walk scotch-free either.
right, but if everyone's getting away with it, what makes the difference if it's Donald Trump or someone else? Because he's the president? Do you really think that that's
What?
going to cause...
Scot-free, guys. Thank you. Not scotch-free, scot-free. So like yes, like just empirically, descriptively speaking, it will have more detrimental outcomes when we let a rapist get away with it that is controlling the country with that level of systemic power. But B, that doesn't change the fact that nobody should be getting away with it.
Exactly. So that leaves us kind of empty-handed in the situation.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Not at all. Not at
So
all.
how do we control it?
Who did Trump run against?
Well, several candidates you're talking about.
Kamala Harris. Was she a rapist?
No.
So if you voted for her as well as the other 49.9% of American voters who voted for Trump, would Trump have gotten away with it?
So tell me, what do you prefer over the situation with Kamala? Like, what is it that you prefer? Kamala, sorry.
So what's that?
What do you prefer over the other as far as...
Yeah, I thought that
leadership?
Kamala Harris was a better candidate in every single conceivable way.
Do you have another point that we could talk over instead of just the grape situation?
Yeah, for sure. Any other reasons why you think he's doing a good job?
Well, I definitely think I had another point here.
Oh, also, if you wanted to talk about abortion, by the way, we can't hear you when you can't see me, so we can't hear you right now.
Oh, sorry.
But like
now?
you also brought up abortion earlier, and I think that you were implying that you don't think abortion should be legal. I would love to talk to you about that.
Sure. I'm not saying that it should be legal or not legal. I think that it should have its restrictions and its regulations, because just as everyone is in a situation that they shouldn't be, then there are also situations where people take advantage. And we're very we know that the system has allowed people to just take advantage and just have kids and then just, I think that that's also causing a lot of the rapists in the country that are not coming from other countries. They're coming from here. Why? Because it's like a continual cycle of just, there's a lot of kids that are not being loved, and there's a lot of as far as that goes, and family court, it's just not the best in our country at all. I mean, I can't compare it in any other country because I don't know, but we have more starving children in our country than any other country. So like these kids are going to grow up with a lot of trauma, which is probably what's causing a lot of this. Plus, yeah, look that up. We're like the third in child trafficking. So there's just a lot of things happening that we could just start to go over. So I feel like the whole system has kind of
Okay, yeah,
been an
hey,
influence
sure.
on
I'd like to point out here that I only have a list of 34 countries in front of me, and there's as of 2018, there's 2 other countries off of this list of 34 that have a higher level of childhood poverty, and then once again, that does not account for every single country on the face of this planet. But it is actually pretty high. The childhood poverty rate in America as of 2018 was what? 21.2%. That's insane. That's insanely high. So let's talk about that. I was asking you about abortion, and then you went off on saying words that honestly I couldn't really understand, but I just want to stay on this. So let me ask you a question. Could we agree that childhood poverty is an issue in America that we need to fix?
Yes.
Can we say it's a very pressing issue in America that we need to fix?
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah, so when Obama passed increases in the child tax credit, childhood poverty was reduced by over 40%. Okay? And Kamala Harris ran on even higher increases compared to Trump. So it is the case that if you voted for Kamala Harris, there'd be less children in poverty in America today, and that is a direct first-order consequence of her increases in child tax credits. It's also worth pointing out that Kamala Harris wanted to give more money to people in need. And I mean, to say it very blatantly, all right? She supported tax cuts for 100 million American citizens in the low and the middle class. She wanted to give more purchasing power to those that needed it the most. Meanwhile, Donald Trump ran on lower child tax credits, meaning there would be more childhood poverty, which was the pronounced issue you pointed out, on top of the fact that overall, his economic policy reduces the purchasing power of any American making under $395,000 per year, disproportionately impacting low-income Americans the most. So Donald Trump's policy is and will continue to cultivate an environment where the worse off suffer the most. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris's policy would have cultivated an environment where the worst off would have been better. So if you care about these systemic issues, such as starving children, the very obvious vote would have been for Kamala Harris.
And so you think that these foreign tariffs are not going to circular back to our economic, like, local citizens as
Do I
far
think
as
that the tariffs on goods imported from other countries will end up impacting us? They already are. That's what, aided and abetted in crashing American markets because nobody knew what the hell was going on. Confidence went down and has barreled our country towards a recession. Yeah.
Well, because that's how up and downs go. You don't just watch a movie and you're in the best part or in the worst part. Like, that's just how, like, it rides. You can't expect things to change overnight, and you can't see an effect of something so big like this in a month or in a year. But remember, this started in like 1970. When did they pass that? I have to.
Hey, do you mind if I ask you a quick question real quick? Do you like it when things go down?
I do. You want to know why?
Wait. I just want to make sure, like, you know exactly what you're saying. You like it when America enters into into recessions?
Well, that's not what you asked me. That's a different question.
Yeah, but that's the down that I'm referencing. A recession's good for our country.
Well, everything that goes down has to come up. And when it comes up, it's going to come up better than it was before. This is a fact.
Oh, okay. So, like, America going into a recession is like a bodybuilder hitting a crazy pump. Although their muscles may hurt the immediate day after, the long-term gains are going to be crazy?
Well, we're talking about 8 billion people on the planet. You have to understand.
So, no, we're talking about it. I just want to clarify. So do you think that like presidents should send America into a recession more frequently because the bounce back gains will be crazy?
So I'll tell you, there's been a more frequent recession now over every something years than back, I don't know when, that was every 20 years.
And I'll tell you something else that's happened. 15 out of the last 16 recessions have happened under who? Republicans. So maybe you should stop enabling the issue in which you think is only becoming more predominant as we move on.
It's not that we're being more predominant, it's that we're being less we're not relying on so many other countries. That's what's made our economic system weak. And
that's what's made our economic, that's what's made the American economy go boom. One of the big reasons why America possesses the largest economy on the face of the planet is because of globalization of commerce, because of a focus on
overproduction of culture. Our culture has a problem of over purchasing. That has come with an expense, not only to our environment, to our health.
So your response to over purchasing, so your response to over purchasing isn't to be like, well, maybe we should normalize financial education and put it into public schools curriculum, but your response is rather we're going to force you to own nothing and be happy.
It's not own nothing. That's not the case. It's not wastefully purchasing at a low price. That no wonder it's like that. Because
who do you think enables Americans to overspend? Okay, because right now you're telling us that the issue is the people, right? Us. I disagree. I think it's the oligarchs and billionaires, right? Well, maybe it's because people have made 11 figures off of the overspending of the average everyday American. And when you turn around and say, oh my God, you know what? It's an issue of the people. They need to own nothing and be happy. And that's why America needs a recession today. But then you allow Elon Musk to give himself like an additional $50 billion in free grants from the federal government because he oversees the departments that are granting SpaceX more money. You're like, I like that guy. Here's my thing. As soon as you start defending a recession and you're like, that is a good thing that we need, I start looking at you like you're insane.
Well, I'm a little bit insane because I got to tell you, I mean, I don't know, every smart, visionary, and innovative person is not all, with every screw perfectly in there. So yeah, I could call myself a little insane, but like, honestly, I think that reforming and the whole process is a way to reform and kind of bring things back together. Do I think that it's going to work out perfectly? I can't see that far out. But what I do know
is it's basically a Hail Mary you're tossing here, right?
Well, the whole country is built off of that anyways.
No, it's not. No. But here's my response.
We're a country that came and took the land out of indigenous people to be built off of faith.
Allow me. Wait. What did you just say about indigenous people? I wanted to make a point, but I'm really curious. What did you just say about indigenous people?
I said this country started by ripping the land from indigenous culture. So we've always been
true. Yes, we stole land and
so we've always
50 million indigenous Americans.
Right. So we've always been in this same cycle of sort of taking and rebuilding and making things better. And this is almost like it's not stopping. So the only way that this is going to work is that if the balance comes with everybody and it's not one side or another. Let me ask you a question.
I have a question. Do you think that it was a good thing Kamala, is that pronounced? Do you think it was a good thing that the colonizers genocided 50 million Native Americans?
Most definitely not.
Okay, but you said they made things better. So I don't think that one of the largest genocides in human history made things better.
Wait. What? Tell me. What? Can you say that again? Because I said
I don't think one of the largest genocides in American history made things better.
Which one are you referring to?
The genocide of 50 million to 100 million Native Americans. But I just want you to sit on that. Okay, maybe consider.
Did you say that it did not make things better?
Not better for the Native Americans. Let me ask you this: who are things better for because of that? For the oppressors, for the murderers, for the slaughterers, for the people that stole the land and killed the Native Americans?
Who were they?
Who were they? The original colonizers of the east coast of North America.
Yeah, they were the British.
So yeah, like the white men that owned property.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'm not so sure where you were hoping to lead that point to.
We were talking about something right before, and it was leading to something. That's kind of where I was going at, but now I kind of lost where we were at. We were talking about you were making a point, and then I brought that up, so it was supposed to go together. So we're gonna have to like either reverse or keep it going forward. But there was a point there.
Ma'am, I'm not so sure there's been a point to anything you've said with us so far today. So you're basically arguing that Donald Trump. I remember my point. Yeah, you're basically saying that the recession Donald Trump is sending our country into is probably a good thing and will likely lead to better outcomes in the long term. That is cult-like behavior, and that's predicated on like your just undying devotion to the Orange Man, and it's not founded upon any like sense of reason or logic. And like right, I obviously think that's like a very big example of anti-intellectualism, and I want to be able to address that. But B, before I do, like I don't know, I just hate it when I see people refuse to hold their leaders to any sense of accountability, because the only thing that we the people can do to ensure our leadership is making the best decisions for us is to hold them accountable. And when you argue that we should hold them to no level of accountability because whatever
No,
they
I
do
didn't
is good.
say that. I definitely didn't
Yes, you
say
did.
that.
That is incredibly regressive to the state of this country and everybody in it. But my main point here is you were telling us that you think that this could end up leading to good outcomes in the long term. You have no evidence of that. What's the relevant distinction between like you and a flat earther or you and an anti-vaxxer, right? These beliefs are predicated on the foundation of a rejection of objective means of research and anti-intellectualism just to serve to your emotions, right? So what's the relevant distinction between like you a visionary, I guess, as you self-defined, and a flat earther or an anti-vaxxer?
Okay, first of all, I definitely think that you have to understand what I was saying before. There is no way things are going to balance by keeping them the same.
Oh, yeah, that's why we were going to make them better with Kamala Harris. God, it's like you think that Kamala Harris was just going to sit there for 4 years and do nothing. No, she was going to pass tax cuts for 100 million hardworking Americans. She was going to give us a $25,000 subsidy to first-time homebuyers to buy newly developed property. She was going to increase the child tax credit. There's going to be active change in this country to hopefully take one step in the right direction.
Okay, do you know the biggest problem that this country has, or how about a global problem? Because this country
the biggest
alone
problem this country
doesn't really
has,
do anything.
the
'Cause
biggest
we're all
problem this country has
interconnected.
is people like you who will kiss the ring of a leader that is in despite of even your own self-interest as a woman, but more so against the self-interests of all Americans and for the better of humanity, because you want to feel like you're a part of a group. Right?
No, let me
It's the
explain
group
something to you.
think,
I'm gonna stop
mob
you right there.
mentality.
Not only
For
am
this
I a
guy
civic
that wants
advocate
to
at the
absolutely
moment.
destroy this country.
Let me explain something. You are so wrong. Not only am I just now beginning like civic, like you don't understand. I can't say how wrong you are. I'm not even a part of anything. I'm here giving a debate because that's what your channel is offering, so that you don't just take me off, because that's the whole point of this entertainment. So I'm giving my opinions, but I'm definitely not kissing nobody's butt or anybody. I totally think that everything needs to be changed on all levels, but there's only so much that we could fight for, and there's only so much that we could complain about.
Bro, you told us the fact that Donald Trump is sending us into a recession is a good thing. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
how much do you want to bet about that? How about we bet $1,000 that that's correct in the future?
You want me to bet you $1,000 that a recession is bad? Sure. Who do you want to be our middleman?
I don't know. I guess the watchers right now. I have no idea. But like,
I'm gonna go ahead and need you to put the money in What,
In an
what's it?
escrow?
Yeah, in
Let's see. Yeah.
escrow. Okay, I'm gonna need you to put the money in escrow.
That's not gonna even work because with the whole systems, at least he's also into cryptocurrency and like helping us decentralize.
Oh,
the
really?
terrible
How's your crypto
corruption.
mark do? How's your crypto wallet doing? Mine's
Well,
lost
I used it all.
50%
It
since
was
the
actually.
inauguration.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. There was a motorcycle driver.
My
Tell me
crypto
again.
wallet has gone down by just around 50% since Trump's inauguration.
Do you think it's gonna stay down, or you think it's gonna go up?
It will stay down as long as America is barreling in towards negative GDP growth with huge reductions in consumer confidence and stagnation inside of our manufacturing sector. Crypto markets, especially like the larger coins such as BTC, ETH, etc., generally do track like more conventional markets. And as long as conventional markets are going down, so will they.
Okay, what else can we talk about? Because there's a couple of other things you were saying that I made no point. So I guess I need to make some better points here.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. Feel free, but I do want to respond to somebody in the YouTube chat. Says Dean bought scam coins. Nah, bro, I'm on Ethereum, and Ethereum's gotten fucked, man. Take it away.
You guys should check out some. It's called Titcoin. I think it's already down, but it's a little meme coin that was doing pretty good.
I do not endorse your message. Don't do
No,
it.
I don't know. I just said check it out. I'm just saying, just for entertainment wise. Don't take my advice. That's for sure.
Please
on that.
Don't dump your money into a meme coin. Is there anything else that you want to run on? That you want to run on me? Any other positions here? Any other reasons why you support the current status quo of harm, destruction, authoritarianism, fascism, and
I support with a balance, seeing that there's some positive changes that are going to come out of it. First, no one has ever stood up to any Chinese minister or to anyone like Trump has, at least for that sake, because they're about to take over the world, honestly, right underneath our feet. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but not only China has bought over like the most, where they're gonna drill the most like gold reserves. They have everything. They have the oil. They have the reserves. They're just taking over.
You know, like right now, we've empowered China even more. Would you like to know how?
Tell me, yeah, I would love to know.
Yeah, because Donald Trump said we're no longer doing business with you. Okay, then what does China do? They go and they do business with everyone else.
But what is that? Why is that going to affect us?
Well, I mean, it would affect us because a lot of the goods we import are from China. So that affects the products that our consumers buy. But this more so affects China because all of a sudden they are better positioned in global trade and commerce. And they'll, have more incentive to trade more with other countries, which will naturally give other countries more incentive to trade with them, on top of the fact that we are also tariffing every other country on Earth, which is another factor that gives other countries more incentive to trade with China. So if you're scared about like this boogeyman of Chinese dominance, like seemingly basically telling them that we're not going to do any more trade with them was a terrible idea.
I don't think so. I mean, if you're just going to stand there and let somebody just kind of bully you all the way, I think that they've had enough opportunities here, and not once have they reinvested. Well, let me not say that, because they did reinvest in a couple of ways. Reinvest any of the surplus that they gained from our...
Do you think that trade deficits are bad?
No.
Okay, so then why do you care about China's trade surplus?
Well, because it's an excess. It's just too much. So there was no cap to it. So they've basically, with our own, yeah, there's no cap. They could use that surplus to do anything. What I see is
what do you think a trade surplus is?
Well, the surplus is.
You're gonna say the surplus of the trade?
Yeah, I know. Because it's like my brain. So wait, what was the question? Oh, what is the what you asked me?
Yeah, what's a trade surplus? Could you define that phrase for me?
Okay, so that is all of the income that they've got from our purchasing of their products. So they ship over the products and we purchase all of that, and all of that money just sits on their end.
So
And
that's
what do
not what
they
a
do?
trade surplus is. So a trade surplus, so basically, America is in a trade surplus with another country if we sell more products to them than they buy to us. So like think
Yeah,
about it.
that's
Think about it this way.
that's that's what I was
We're gonna
saying.
take Canada
They
and
dump
America
everything
just for
in
an we're gonna take Canada and America for an example. Let's assume last year Canada bought $100 worth of American goods and we bought $200 worth of Canadian goods. Okay, well we're in a trade deficit to Canada for $100 and they're in a trade surplus to America for $100. But I mean, this is just a tool for accounting. It doesn't really mean anything tangible, and like trade surpluses and trade deficits aren't really a bad thing. Like for instance, assuming last month you maybe spent like $600 at your local grocery store. I mean, did your local grocery store spend any money on you? No. So that means that you're in a trade deficit to your local grocery store of $600. Is that a bad thing? No, right? And I mean, like, it's just kind of the product of free trade as well. Like, when we consider the fact that America's the richest country on earth, we account for 30% of global commerce, and we have nearly 350 million Americans. We're going to expect to be in a trade deficit with any other country that has a lower populace than us, and B, we're going to expect to be in a trade deficit with other countries that may have a higher population than us, but still yet have like significantly less money in the sense of per year gross domestic product. So I don't really think that trade surpluses or deficits are all too important.
So how do you think that they've purchased any power in any of the sectors as far as where do you think that they're, I mean, have you like studied how they've progressed as a country? Not only did China have zero like natural resources, now they have control over a lot of the natural resources.
Yeah, they found a lot of mines. I think they just found like one of the largest raw mineral mines for what was it? Something big. I don't know. Why does this
Well,
matter?
because they've purchased that from a lot of the surplus. That's where that was coming from.
What?
What they've gained from the surplus, they've invested that.
Who's they? Out of curiosity, who's they?
China.
China, like the government?
Yes.
Okay, no, like the actual money that accounts for that trade surplus is going to be the money that Chinese companies receive when Americans buy their products.
Right, that's what I'm saying to you. Because we've allowed them to infest our entire country with just their products, we're making them more.
Okay, she sucks. I do have to kick her. And then also, like, hey guys, I'm so sorry. I actually have to go. I have a meeting in 10 minutes, so I'm gonna spend like 8 minutes here reading off the rest of the donations and hanging out with y'all for a second. But I lost track of the time and I just remembered that I have a meeting in 10 minutes. But I promise. It's a really important meeting. It's actually with somebody that works with Buttigieg. We're going to be working out the logistics for Buttigieg coming on the stream. Boom! So it's actually really exciting. Really, really exciting. I knew it was at like 5:30 my time, but honestly, when I'm doing these debates, I completely lose track of the time, dude. I just get so into them, you know, man. But we do have like a couple minutes here. I'm gonna push it to the last second before I hop off. I want to thank a couple people. Keith, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo for the support. Everybody show some love to Keith down below, as well as Stone with the $25 on Venmo saying thank you for what you do, dude. It seems exhausting. Please take care of yourself. Yeah, Stone, I appreciate you for the $25. And the B, it can get exhausting when I'm doing it day after day after day. And like the way that I guess I take care of myself is just by taking a little time off here and there. And honestly, like the last 3 days I've spent in Texas was that, you know, because another byproduct of these streams is I don't get too much socialization, never really hang out with friends and whatnot. And that can be bad for me. So, I mean, on top of going down to Texas for the first stop of the Unfuck America tour and whatnot. It was also just a really good thing for me to be able to socialize with other people. So I'm taking care of myself. But I do really appreciate you for the love, Stone. That's very kind. Then Blown with the $4 over on Venmo. When's the vid coming out? Hopefully soon on YouTube. But Blown, I heard that you were there, bro. Why didn't you say hi to me, man? I've been kind of caught up on that, Blown. I was telling Parker, like, I'm really sad Blown didn't say what's up. Austin, thank you for the $5 saying I had a great time at the Unfuck America tour at A&M. I was the guy who asked to take a selfie with you while you were on stage at Rudder, if you remember. I do remember you, Austin. I think that somebody had clipped that and posted that on TikTok. Dominic, thank you for the $10. And Brittany with a 5. Katie with a 5. Lacey with a 5. Beckett with a 5. Jacob with a 2. And then, yeah, Benjamin with a 3. You guys are also awesome. And then also, oh my God, Jack! Thank you, Jack, for the $50 donation over on PayPal. Jack says, I'm so tired of everybody saying that these tariffs are good for manufacturing. I literally was just laid off from my manufacturing job. My sister's factory laid off 300 employees and then many more. Fuck these people. Take some of my severance pay. Oh, dude, Jack. I don't think I deserve your severance pay. Do you want this back? I don't mind just like reading off the donation and then sending you your severance pay back. I want to make sure that you're good, bro. P.S. When's the full video of y'all at Charlie Kirk's thing coming out? So right now, we're kind of just focused on putting like short form content out on the socials. But once we're able to edit and get all the short form videos together, Jack, then we're going to refocus on editing a long form video for YouTube. So it may be a while, but I mean, I'm definitely going to be like putting out short form content every day for at least the next couple of days. Dude, why is there like an idiot in the chat spamming white pride, bro? What the fuck? Anyways, moving on. I'm really sorry that you got laid off, man. And that is true. There's been so many American manufacturers who have been laying off their employees because we're heading towards a fucking recession. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. But yeah. All right, who's next? Sorry, I got caught away with that one. And Elena, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. I really appreciate you so much for the love. Elena says, I was mad at you for a while because of something you said about my job, but I take it back and I really respect you even more now. Sorry for boycotting you. Appreciate you. Elena, what's your job? You should let me know what your job is so I could remember what my thoughts are. AJ, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Abby with a 5 as well. You guys are all very, very kind. Then Olivia, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. And Alexander with a 15. And Shelby with a 25 as well. You guys are so incredibly kind. Then Nicole, thank you for the $20 super chat saying, never for living your life. You don't know how to give us a reason why you're leaving. Dean, please take care of yourself. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for the $20. And then Blown follow-up says, I didn't realize you were 6'5", Blown, my guy. That's right, I'm 6'5". Actually, some might even argue I'm 7'1". 7'1", quite frankly. Anyways, hey, we have like a couple more minutes here. You guys want to talk about Texas A&M real quick for a couple minutes? I know I do. So I had like the best weekend ever. I had the best weekend ever. It was so cool. It was so fun being out there with everyone. Oh my God. Oh my God. I loved it. I loved it. I truly did. I truly did love it. And I really do think that everybody was involved. Everyone had a good time. I haven't talked to like one person that went out that had a negative experience yet. And it was great. It was great. It was really fun to be able to like demonstrate that Charlie Kirk isn't a god by making it very clear that he's scared of me. So that was great. And then like B, to be able to like connect with other creators in the community and like foster better relationships with them, as well as, you know, because we had such like a diverse group of people out there with like specialties in different like areas of thought. And, you know, when we were on stage and we ended up debating, you know, like I feel like the setup going in was like, oh, it was just going to be like me and Parker debating, me and Parker on the mic. Meanwhile, the other creators were just going to be in the area. But what it turned into was like everybody that wanted to was hopping on that mic at a point or another. And I thought I end up, you know, my concluding thoughts are, is that ended up creating like the best possible outcome ever, because then everybody got to talk about what they care about, what they're really knowledgeable about. And it was both entertaining and informative. And I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Anyways, yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I also just gotta get closer to other people in the community. You know what I mean, man? Like, I gotta get closer with Johnny. If you watch him, if you know who Mermaid is, if you've seen her before, Erica, Brandon, thank you so much for the galaxy. Seeing Santana was sick. This guy named Chris. There's a bunch of really cool people out there, man. Everyone on that trip was super sick. Everyone. I don't think I even, like, from my own perspective, have had like a single experience with anybody else there where I was like, whoa. Like, they're not who they say they are. They're not a cool person. I thought everyone there was awesome. Oh, and you know what? We're going to go ahead and end the stream, but I'm going to send y'all on a raid to somebody that we met there. They're actually going over... Wait. Are they doing debates? I don't know what they're doing. It looks like 4 people from the tour. Oh, it's a Charlie Kirk watch party? Okay, let me see if I could find some debates. Dude, the Charlie Kirk show is in their chat. What the fuck? Why is the Charlie Kirk show in their chat? Oh, that's crazy. Guys, do you want to go on a raid to this Charlie Kirk watch party that a couple of the other creators were doing on the tour, and like right now Charlie's in the chat? or like to a debate live? Yeah? Yes? Okay. It's at Simple Black Theory on TikTok. Wow, right now they actually have 1,000 people in it. That's pretty crazy. Head over there at Simple Black Theory, and everybody spam Dean Raid, and then like just so we could boost the engagement, and they make sure that y'all they know that y'all are coming from here, and then I guess listen in. I bet like maybe he'll try to end up getting you guys to tell Charlie to join. I think this is cool. I'm gonna go watch this. I guess I really gotta go. I have a meeting in 1 minute. Everybody go raid at Simple Black Theory. I need to go to the meeting now. At Simple Black Theory on TikTok. On TikTok at Simple Black Theory. But yeah, I'm gonna go to an end. I love you guys so much. At Simple Black Theory on TikTok. And head over there. Go check it out. I think they're trying to get Charlie Kirk to join the live, and he's in their chat. I saw it with my own eyes. Charlie Kirk is in their chat over there. But all right. Love you guys. At Simple Black Theory on TikTok. Bye, y'all. All right, guys. For everyone on YouTube, I actually do have to end like literally right now. The meeting is this minute. I love you all. Bye, guys.